years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Granger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Granger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Dusty Likens, and in case you didn't already know, I'm here to tell you that you can watch all the shows here on 96.5 The Fan across all our social media channels. That's right. If you want to see our smiling faces as we talk about the best sports fans and teams in the country, subscribe to our YouTube channel or watch on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. Wake up with us, eat lunch with us, and go home with us. Your home for Kansas City sports, 96.5.
This is the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for K-State Athletics. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Audacy sports station.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
7.5 people over under in their car currently listening to this radio station.
You think it's, I'm going to go the under on that one, right? There's a couple of cars out there.
What a trip into work this morning.
Boy, I'm telling you, if you don't have to be out today, as they like to say, don't be out. The mayor's on TV talking about snow removal in Kansas City, and so we know how that's going to go. And Casey, actually, Casey Mo's doing a much better job than they have done in years past. But the road, like, I woke up this morning and I could see the grass, and I was talking to one of the folks down at the Rock, Nikki, and I go,
in the garage?
She said that she got up at 2 this morning because it was, and she's like, there's no snow. So as the day kind of progressed and the morning kind of progressed, now you can see that the stuff is covered. The roads were not good this morning, and so I'll just give that public service announcement to you out there. Don't go out today if you don't have to. Don't do what we did. What is it? Do as I say, not as I do. Because we did do, and we're here, and we are due for being here on the roads. But for you guys out there, if you can stay at home, just stay at home. I know a lot of people can't. You got to get out and you got to do your thing. But the roads, haven't been touched yet because it's just now kind of really starting. as I went to pick up Mac this morning, I got in the shower about 4, looked out the window. The grass was still very visible. And as soon as I got in the car and started heading to get Mac, sideways snow, the roads are starting to get to be a mess and whatnot. So just be very, very, very careful out there today when you're driving around, or just kick your feet up and grab a cup of coffee and listen to us talk Chiefs all morning long, or Royals, or whatever we're going to talk about today, because there really is no reason to be out in that mess, and it's only going to get worse. Hopefully by 10 o'clock it's better. Some of the roads are cleared, and we can be about our day. But right now, sit back, relax, and just enjoy the morning, right?
Yeah, that's why you're able to watch us on like YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, X, all that sort of stuff. You can just put it on your TV this morning.
Yeah. If you're weather tired of, looking at the forecast.
It literally looked like I was driving the Millennium Falcon this morning. Like that's
it was like that bad for you, huh?
Well, I mean, I was on the highway. Like I've told you this 3 times now. I go 470, 435 to today was Metcalf, but normally it's to 69 to 35 into Shawnee Mission Parkway because I come from Lee Summit. Terrible. I mean, terrible. It's just like nobody knew which lane they were. There was no lane.
No.
I'm just going to say there was no lane. There were 2 stripes of pavement. Lighting was very rare, and you would like drive, and all of a sudden you'd see like 2 red dots. Like, okay, now there's a car in front of me. It's now going a certain speed. It's either whatever, and that was nuts, man. It was fun though.
Yeah, it was fun. I kind of like it.
Actually, it wasn't fun. It was
like
fun in a crazy psychotic way.
Yeah, but these are the days that I have the Bronco for. So I pick up Mac and whatnot. I'm like, there's no lanes. I kind of like that do-or thing. How many red lights we stop out this morning, young man? How many?
0. None. Yeah, lucky for you guys, you had to drive on a highway.
I know. Like they were sending me to the highway because Mac just moved, so I was going to his new crib to pick him up because he's no longer staying in mommy's bosom. And so he gave me the directions of where to go, and it's like highway. I'm like, I'm not going to get on the highway today. I'm going to stay on the side roads and do all that and take my time on getting there. But it all worked out, and we're good to go. But just be careful if you're going to go out today. Go slow, and if you don't have the right car, I understand people still. I get it all, man. Maybe there's an Uber XL or something out there that can help you out. But like if you have a 2-door spec today, it's probably not going to be something that works. And we're watching all these cars just stalled on the highway.
It's just lane.
Oh, the video was for us.
Yeah, it's just stripes.
Hey, that's actually not too bad. They actually got some stripes there for you to stay in. So it's a snow day, right? The kids are off today. They're off the rest of the week. They're off Monday. Like
from the 913, I'm currently driving that same route from the Lee Summit area. 1 lane's plowed, traffic moving about 50 miles per hour.
Say that's better than what you had this morning, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's with time and movement, things will obviously. But shout out to the snow plowers out there.
That's right. You guys do a great job
Busy
as
year.
always.
I don't know if that's good or if it's normal or whatever. But yeah, good thing.
This is the second big one we've had this year, right? And there's years where we haven't had any snow, and so I guess we were kind of quote unquote due. The due factor, like they say in baseball. I think he's due. I guess we were due for those El Niños or La Niñas or whatever we're calling the snowstorms these days, and it is what it is.
I'm just glad there's no ice.
Yeah, that's the saving grace. And this is light, like, dusty snow, if you will. It's powder. It's very, very, very much like talcum powder out there today. It's not packing snow, which is another good thing as well. So it'd be easier to get this kind of stuff off the roads and get people moving again around town. So, hang out today. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, enjoy yourself. I don't like that line. Just enjoy yourself.
Just enjoy yourself.
The hell with anybody else.
Yeah.
Teachers, relax today.
Kids, go out and make it. Well, we have to make a snowman because it's powder. But,
yeah, it's Dusty Snow.
Yeah. That's a great stripper name. Hi, I'm Dusty Snow.
If that's what her voice sounds like. Would you like a beer?
Yeah.
Hi,
I'm Dusty Snow.
Yeah. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. No, you can appreciate the people that do have to go out there and work on this stuff today and plow the streets. But speaking of appreciation.
Yeah.
Because this time of year, we'll bring this up in our poll question because it is Wednesday. But this is where, like, the time of year where you'll teeter-totter from, Royals and Chiefs, because you have spring training getting ready to start.
Yeah.
You just had the Super Bowl end. You also have the draft, opening day, free agency, all this sort of stuff kind of like intervines within itself. But where we can start the first Chiefs topic off today is after you lose that Super Bowl, like, does that loss give you more appreciation for this run than you may have had a few days ago?
Yeah.
And the run that we talk about is the run for the three-peat. Like, seeing that you beat a Philadelphia team 2 years ago. You beat a San Francisco 49ers team last year. And then this year you played a Philadelphia Eagles team that was just, better than you, stronger than you, and more prepared in that game than you. And it makes you wonder, in that three-peat run, their best record statistically was the year they lost the Super Bowl, and their worst record statistically was the year that they won a Super Bowl. So it's like the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of the NFL, and how the Chiefs sustained at the top for all that time. It's still not over. It could go right back to the Super Bowl next year. I firmly believe that with who they have at quarterback and at coach. But it does make you appreciate it a little bit more when you see the team lose that way, but understand that they played almost 4 years more than any other team in the NFL and still went to three straight titles.
With the last couple of years, they've had an entire extra season of games with the playoff games. What is Patrick Mahomes now, 18-4 in the postseason or whatever it is, right? That's more than a full season extra football, and that's not a bad thing. That's an amazing thing right now. I think you bring up a really good point, though. The two Super Bowl losses were their two best record years, 15-2 and 14-2, and they lost in the Super Bowl in both of those years. They go 11-6 last year, and they win the Super Bowl. So it's kind of crazy. The two best regular seasons did not equal the postseason success that we want, and that's why I've said for so long, doesn't matter what you do in the regular season, it matters how you finish and if you're hoisting that Lombardi trophy, and they didn't. For me, I've always been appreciative. I was very lucky as a child to have my dad tell me, and I was telling you guys this in New Orleans, when I was 7 or 8 years old, remember this moment. It doesn't happen a lot, and it's one of those things from childhood that really stuck to me, and when the Giants won the Super Bowl for the first time when I was a kid, and my dad's like, man, I've been a Giants fan my whole life. They haven't been any good since the 50s. Enjoy this moment. It doesn't happen all that much. And I was like, come on, Dad, they're going to win every year, right? And they didn't. They went 5 years, they won another one. And so that's always been my way of kind of viewing sports now as an adult. You've got to really appreciate, what was going on. I think there was some missed appreciation with the Royals in 14 and 15 because people were focused on Omar Infante. And I do think during this run, there's been some, lack of appreciation for what's going on with the Chiefs because people get so dialed in and narrow focused on the minutia of stuff, they forget about the big picture. And now that they lost the Super Bowl, I kind of feel like maybe Chiefs fans are kind of reflecting a little bit and saying, damn, I really should be appreciating what's going on here because even with that Super Bowl loss, this is still the greatest time of our lives. And so for those that weren't fully appreciating everything that we've been enjoying, I hope that Super Bowl loss was kind of a little bit of I don't want to say a wake-up call, but a moment where you go, damn, I really should be appreciating this ride because we saw it kind of pause in the Super Bowl, took a left-hand turn we didn't expect. Will we get back on the straight and narrow? There's no guarantees. I'd like to think we will, but there's no guarantees that this organization or any organization gets back to the championship game. And remember, we went 50 years here in Kansas City without getting to that Super Bowl. So I hope that loss makes people really, truly appreciate, take a step back and take a deep breath and realize, hey, man, we've had a really, really good run here, and they lost. So what? This has still been the mecca of the sports world and the entertainment world for the last 5 years.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, again, we talked about before the loss about how Mahomes still has time to chase Brady's legacy. And with a win, it would really narrow that gap. I think we can all agree that we can be done talking about that sort of comparison until we get to the time, right? But I do think it is laughable and comical to think that at the age of 29, 30, it's where Mahomes will be next year. And to know for a fact that he's going to play until he's 40. That type of athlete will do that. Like Tiger Woods, I know he just pulled out of the Genesis Classic this weekend or the tournament this weekend, but he's still playing competitive golf, even if it is at a very low rate. But Tom Brady played until he was 45. And Tom Brady was kind of like that first wave of quarterbacks that if you have the money and the right people, they can keep you on track to play until basically it's just clearly time has taken over, which it did in that final season, which was his only losing season of his career. And Mahomes is that same kind of guy. He has a great trainer. He will have great, physicians. He will have a whatever he wants and will eventually play until he's 40. Unless something random happens and he's just at the age of 35 and he's I'm beat up, my arm's trash, my hips hurt, I'm just retired, I've won 5 Super Bowls. But it's laughable to think that he would never get back in 10 years when he went to 5 and 7.
Well, people love to talk about the fact that Mahomes isn't going to be back. You just
was it 5 and 7?
It was. He won 5 Super Bowls in 7 years as a starter.
It's comical to think that would never happen.
Right.
It's if it was, if he'd gone to 3 and 1 too, if this 3-peat was the only thing that he had done, then I might be well, maybe this is an anomaly of a run. I don't know. But he did before that, went through roster changing, went through trades, went three in a row, and they're getting ready to redo the whole roster and go through trades again.
I think we're going to see one of the biggest roster turnovers we've seen in this organization.
You saw the free agents.
Just the free agent list alone, but I think, this may be another type of Tyreek Hill type of offseason. Not that anybody's told me anything like that, but when you lose that Super Bowl, you kind of have that bad taste in your mouth. I think this is going to be one of the bigger roster turnovers that we see in this organization. And if they do trade people, and we'll get to some scenarios that we may have later in the show, but if they do start to trade people, remember, they traded Tyreek Hill and went to 3 straight Super Bowls and won 2. It's not about anybody else other than that quarterback and that head coach and, now offensive line. But if they start trading people, they're trying to get better and turn that roster over, and they've done it before, and they're going to continue to do it. And that's how you stay on top. You stay young, you stay fresh, and you stay moving forward, and you got that rock-solid dude at quarterback for you.
From Chiefs to Royals, Royals to Chiefs, that's this time of year. And coming up on the other side, a familiar face back at the K, and also payroll conversations. Bob Fescoe, McMurray, Dusty Likens. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Well, I'll tell you what, you want to have a great month of February because it is that month of love. And ED can cause a major relationship issue. In fact, they can cause a lot of issues in your relationship. And men often push their partners away when ED becomes a problem. The condition can cause depression, arguments, breakups, even contribute to divorce. ED is a relationship destroyer. It can contribute to depression, distancing, conflicts, even breakups and divorce. And what's so disturbing about this is that most men who suffer with ED can be successfully treated, but a lot of guys don't seek treatment when they should. That's where Heartland Men's Health comes in, because they have treatments when the pills or herbals fail. They have treatments with success rates well over 90%, and some treatments can even have you last an hour or more. Heartland Men's Health is successfully treating men right here in Kansas City. So schedule a consult today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes a medical consult with a licensed medical provider, a T and PSA test, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. And they have an expert staff on hand, and if you're like a lot of men, you could be having sex the day after your appointment. They have 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. So call them today, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Booth Creek Wagyu, KC's premier Wagyu beef meat market, has even more convenient ways for you to shop. In addition to their location at 135th and Metcalf, they're now open at 95th and Knoll. Everyone deserves to elevate their beef. Whether you're looking to wow your family with a meal they'll never forget or impress your friends, neighbors, and coworkers, their Wagyu experts are ready to help you pick out something unforgettable. Booth Creek Wagyu, now with 2 locations, open 7 days a week, or at boothcreekwagyu.com.
Well, I'll tell you what, the snow is coming down right now, but later on today, once that snow dissipates, you're going to have the opportunity to say, what are we going to do with the kids? Well, you got to take them foaling today because it's inside, so it's a great indoor activity for a day like today, and it's perfect for everyone. Mom, you're looking to get out of the house with the kids today. Dad, you want to do something with the kids today? Take them to foaling. And, hey, if you just want to get out of the house today, go foaling as well. Go foaling on Friday. Go foaling on Saturday. Whatever you want, it will be there for you. And foaling is football plus bowling plus bar, and that's Foaling Warehouse, Kansas City, the funkiest sports entertainment venue in KC, off 435 and State Line. You set up those pins, you throw the football at them just like you're bowling, you knock them all down, and everybody has a blast. And now, Foaling has become the official home in Kansas City of the Jeopardy Bar League, and their own bartender, Pat Kerr, he's a former Jeopardy contestant as well and champion. He will be the host of Bar Jeopardy at Foaling, and that's on every Monday night, and it's getting ready again to go on Monday, so get on down to Foaling. You can reserve a lane at foalingkc.com. That's foalingkc.com, and get your foal on.
Hello, Kansas. Looks like we're in for another heat wave this season with a forecasted high of up to $300,000. That's right. The Kansas Lottery is bringing the heat with the Hot Sevens family of tickets rolling across our state. You could instantly win up to $300,000. Plus, there's even a chance at up to $20,000 in the second chance drawing through Play On. Talk about a scorcher. Don't forget your oven mitts when you head out today. See kslottery.com for details.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunk Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems.
We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on two wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi, golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf, Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Right now, get up to a $15 gift card after rebate when you purchase select Superstart batteries exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is Larry Ryan at Ryan Lawn and Tree. And right now, before the leaves fill in, is a great time to care for your trees. You can also save 15% on our tree services, but only if you book before March 1st. Save 15% today at ryanlawn.com/tree.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where TurboTax Expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Chiefs coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door. RENNER forward and back.
I was coined almost Andy Reid when I was on a radio show, and it's stuck with me ever since. Renner Garage Door can help you not get stuck out in the cold this winter. Book your annual maintenance or get a free replacement quote today.
RENNER, RENNER.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Missouri side, Northland, 435 northbound past Parvin. The right lane blocked with a stalled. Also, Kansas side, 69 highway northbound exit to 435 eastbound, currently closed as it is impassable. You want to take it slow out there and give yourself extra time. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I love it. Well, hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, that's how we feel, kid. Yeah. That's how we feel. Be safe today. Hazardous conditions. Drive slow. It doesn't matter if you get there an hour late. Just get there.
Or if you don't get there today because you can't get there, so what?
Yeah. What Bob said.
I just don't want people to go out there and endanger themselves, right? You got to make sure you're careful, you're safe, and if you don't have the proper car or whatnot, man, just be careful out there. Or if you have to walk, whatever the case may be, but be safe.
Neil and Lone Jack is taking it slow.
Let's go, Neil.
Somebody says from the 816, imagine going to the parade today in this weather. Well, they wouldn't have had it.
They probably would have canceled the parade today, yes.
Probably would have been Thursday.
It was scheduled for Thursday anyway, just so people know. I mean, I know people are scoring at home when the parade would have been. It was scheduled for Thursday because this weather was coming in, so they moved it back, a day to Thursday. The Philly parade is going to be on Friday. That's going to be a disaster. A Friday afternoon, right?
Yeah, it's going to be on Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day. They had that Valentine's Day massacre, that people have talked about over the years. Like, what's going to happen in Philadelphia on a Friday where everybody's hammered out of their minds climbing light poles?
And then it's Galentine's Day on Saturday.
I thought Galentine's Day was before Valentine's Day.
National Galentine's Day is, I think, February 15th.
You know who will
Check
know that?
it
Binkley
and
will
see
know.
if I pulled it.
Binkley will know the exact answer to that because every day he tells me what the national days are, and we'll talk to him coming up in about 20 minutes. And so I bet you he knows exactly when Galentine's Day is.
So it'll be. So we want to wait for Binkley?
No, I want to know now.
Okay, it's the day before, so it's tomorrow. Yep.
The 13th. Ooh, on a Thursday. That's interesting. So Galentine's Day is the day before Valentine's Day, so they get to double dip if they have a relationship. Or is it just for single women?
I think it's just for single women. I don't think you double dip.
So if Molly's single, but Sarah's not, Sarah can't participate in Galentine's Day.
Sorry, you're out.
Yeah, sorry, Sarah.
So that's kind of like, so that has to dissipate. Is that the word?
Dissipate is the word.
That has to dissipate as you get older, you would think.
Well, I would imagine, but maybe you get
like
to a
imagine
point.
the same two that ride it out to the like Thelma and Louise type. Like,
How
like
cool
60.
would that be, right?
We've made it this far, Cheryl.
Yep.
F those guys.
Keep
and
it
those
going.
friends.
Did The Office create Galentine's Day?
It was Parks and Recreation.
Oh, it was Park and Rec.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Parks and Rec. My
and
bad.
Rec,
Yeah,
yeah.
I knew it was a TV show.
Yeah.
But yesterday, shockingly enough, was National Breakup Day. Wow. What?
Oh, because they do it like they do it before the
like
holiday.
Right before Valentine's Day, right?
Like a week.
Like I've always told people this. I was telling my daughter this because she dated this kid for a month and he broke up with
That's
her.
a
I'm like,
long time at that age.
yes and no. It just like it depends. I
that's a
think
long time
she's
these
been in
days.
a longer one, but a month. They dated for a month and he broke up with her, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But I told her, I said, once you get to about Thanksgiving time, really don't date anybody until like February 15th. From like Thanksgiving-ish, if you haven't been in a relationship, right? If you're in a long, it's fine. But if you're getting ready and you're maybe wanting to find a relationship, wait till after Valentine's Day. Ask that person out like the 15th, 16th, 17th.
Yeah.
That way you get through Christmas, you get through the New Year, you get through Valentine's Day.
Oh, you're trying to be a cheapskate.
No, I'm trying to be like, if you don't like the person, like if you start dating that person right around Thanksgiving and you really
It's
don't like
really
them, then you're
hard
breaking
to
up with them in
end
the
it.
holidays and all
Yeah.
this kind of stuff backs up. So just do yourself a favor and just wait till after Valentine's Day. That way you don't have to break up with somebody in the middle of the holiday season,
You
right?
said he broke up with her?
Yeah.
How did he do it?
Well, there was originally about a week ago, there was a text message that was sent that I'm breaking up with you. And so she started crying. And then he claimed his friends took his phone and they did it. Come to find out they did not do
come
that.
on.
Come on, right? Yeah.
Own up.
Of course not. It didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Call
that kid out.
I will. I mean, but she's like,
Man up, man.
she goes, I think we're going to date in high school. I'm like, really? Why?
Do you imagine Bob like shows up like in a locker room after a Super Bowl loss, after a relationship loss? So tell me what happened.
Yeah.
Where'd you really start to see it go wrong? Was it like the first quarter?
Yeah, exactly.
Be a man. Tell me what happened.
That actually would be a fun
Mike
bit,
Caliendo
right?
told me after they got blown out of the Super Bowl. So tell me, bud, when did it go wrong?
Yeah.
Why wasn't she good enough for you?
That's right. I like it. Yeah.
Why are you putting that camera in front of my face? Get used to it. I'm
Hey,
getting
why
into
are you wearing in a
sales.
red suit and putting on a tripod in the locker room? Like, what are you doing there? Dancing.
He's still on it. All right, so no secret, cat's out of the bag. Ned Yost coming back to the Royals as a advisor to the GM.
Yeah.
We all know what this means. Ned's thinking about a return to baseball. And if he's going to, it's a GM role. So why not just go pair up with a guy that you're familiar with that knows what he's doing?
I think Ned's bored and is looking for something to do, and it's the 10th anniversary of the 2015 season. He's like, I feel like getting back. Because those special advisor roles, man, those are cake. Like, I've dreamed of being a special advisor to a general manager. You put your feet up, you answer the phone, you give them a few tips, and you go back to your thing, right?
And maybe I'm wrong here. Didn't Matheny do that with Dayton before he became the head coach?
He did. He was kind of a special advisor or something like that because they knew they were going to transition from Ned to Matheny, so they brought him in like a year early and whatnot. I don't think Ned wants anything to do with a full-time job in baseball anymore. I think Ned is just like, hey, I kind of feel the itch. It is the 10th anniversary, which shockingly, my God,
but I mean,
10
you could
years,
just fly
right?
in from Georgia to go to that
You
like
could,
you did last year.
But you could also get a nice little check to be an advisor and feel like kind of you're involved. I mean, you look at some of these special advisors around. It's a lot of retired managers, a lot of retired baseball players. Like George Brett's technically like a special advisor. You know, the kind of the big guys in your organization.
He has a title in the organization.
I think it's special advisor to the general manager or something like that. You can look at Royals.com, I would imagine, like what his title is. But no, I don't think Ned is ever going to get back in full time to Major League Baseball. Ned's got to be in his 70s now, right?
I mean, you know more than we would.
I mean, he's got to be in his 70s at this point in time, and I know he's been loving life on the farm and doing all that stuff. But sometimes
he's 69.
Yeah, oh, nice. Way to go, Ned. Yeah, nice. Yeah. So he ain't getting back in full time. I think he just kind of wants to be part of the organization. Look, who wouldn't want to be part of what's going on right now in this Royals organization? Right? They had a great season last year. They've got one of the best players in baseball. I found myself on MLB Network last night watching the top 100 in baseball. They did 41-20. I went to bed at like 30 because that's what Ellie De La Cruz popped up on the list. And you're telling me there's 30 baseball players better than Ellie De La Cruz in Major League Baseball at this? I couldn't name 30 players in baseball, let alone 30 better than Ellie De La Cruz at this point in time. I didn't see where Bobby was. I'm guessing he's got to be in the top 10 of baseball. I mean, Mike Trout was in the top 40, for God's sake. And he hasn't played a full season since Ned was the manager of the Royals. So I think Bobby would be in the top 10. So it's a good time to be around the Royals organization. Like, the vibe is really good right now in Kansas City, in Arizona. Like, it's a really good time to be part of it. And I think if you were part of the glory days, you're looking back like, man, hey, anything I can do up there to help you guys out. And if you're JJ, you're like, yeah, let's bring back the guy who won a world championship, and I'll pick his brain and give him a couple of bucks and we can have some fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that, like, maybe there's more to it than just, like, I'm poor and I want to collect a check. I mean, I just think that, like, I think this happens to a lot of, like, guys like Ned. Like, I've known friends of mine whose dads retire, and for, like, a month, they're living their best life. And then it's like, I just miss what I used to do.
They do.
And you're like, well, then you got to go do something. Like, well, what do you think? I can't get back into construction because I don't want to do that. I'm like, well, then go just be like a freelance worker. And they basically do construction work, but it's like, hey, my buddy's like trying to build a back deck. Do you think you can come over here? And then they go over there, they help them build their back deck.
That's kind of what it is.
And they get paid under the table to do that. Then it's like, hey, my buddy's over here. But then it turns into like, now you're basically working full time again. You're just doing little odd jobs. So, like,
but you can control your schedule and say, I don't want to do that. You know, like, I'm not interested in being in spring training.
Has any sort of like maybe like a step above management role in like an organization.
No. And right now in baseball, they're not hiring old men to be general managers anymore. Fair. You know, they're hiring all the dorks from Harvard that, you know, have sat in their mom's basement with an abacus telling you who to trade and who not to trade for all the that. Like, that's where the game is headed. Ned, in my opinion, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn at this at all.
Yeah.
He's too old school for the way that baseball is right now. But you want that old school vibe. I still think you need some of those old school vibes, you know, guys that are going to be down at spring training. I mean, Dayton had guys like that for many years, you know, as his senior advisors, and like Bill Fisher, a guy like that, was in charge of the pitching and kind of a senior advisor, and you know, Art Stewart was around forever and kind of a special advisor, and guys like that. So that's what Ned's role is going to be: come in when you want, work when you want, hang out when you want, still feel like you're part of the team, offer some advice. I think at the beginning, Ned's going to be very involved at spring training, and I think it's going to be fun to see Ned walking around spring training again, kind of doing his thing down there. But once the season gets started, you know, kind of like Dayton is right now with Texas. You know, you call them when you need something, you go down there for a little bit. I don't know if Ned will be as involved as Dayton has been, you know, with the Rangers and doing all that kind of stuff. But having people part of your organization that are winners, it's a great thing. It's an unbelievable thing. And I'm excited to see, you know, Ned back and part of this thing. So we'll see if he can, you know, give his advice to the young players, if the young players listen to a guy who's 69, 70 years old anymore. So we'll see what happens.
We see the similar structure work in football too, right? You know, get those younger minds, maybe be the head coach or whatever, but get an offensive coordinator, maybe get an assistant coach, get an advisor that's been there, that's done that, that's 67 years old. We've seen that work a lot.
It worked in Philadelphia on Sunday.
Yes,
I mean, you had Vic
really
Fangio in there, who's, you know, 95, and, you know, he did a great job of coordinating the defense, and it'll be interesting now to see who they hire as their OC with Kellen Moore going down to New Orleans, hot wife. By the way, you know, why leave? Just stay. Everybody knew you were getting the job, right?
Yeah,
but,
of course.
But I think you do need, like, those veteran guys around you, and, you know, and have kind of a veteran presence if you are first in line as a head coach or a manager or something like that. You'd like to have that. And JJ in his first GM job, obviously, lean on smart people. And Ned's a smart person in baseball and knows what's going on. So you want to surround yourself with great people. That's what leaders do, right? They surround themselves with great people. They listen, they take input, and then they make that decision. But if you don't have great people around you, it doesn't work that way. So I like it.
And this is a good point from the text line for the 816. It's like, I don't think that Ned asked the Royals. Like, the Royals asked Ned because they wanted a champion. They wanted him to be around this championship sort of caliber team.
That's a great point by the text line. And I don't know if that happened, but the point of having a winner around these guys to tell them what it was like to win in Kansas City because, Salvi right now is the old man in the room like me. You can only hear from that guy for so long. You bring somebody in that was the manager on top of all this. I think guys can look at Ned and Ned can say, hey, this is what we did. This is how we turned it. And a lot of what Ned did with the Royals in 14 and 15 wasn't the baseball stuff. It was the managing of the people stuff too. And, kind of getting them through a lot of tough times that we saw here in Kansas City. People's moms were dying and, fathers were passing away at us. And Volquez, his father died. He pitches Game 4 of the World Series. It's still one of the most unbelievable things ever. Chris Young's mother died. Moose's mom died. Like, just dealing with all that, the day-to-day minutia. Ned's been there. And you know what? For Q, going through stuff like this and being a playoff manager now, wouldn't you love to have Ned right there where you could just call him or talk to him and say, hey, what would you do in this situation? I got 2 guys that are fighting in the clubhouse. How can I handle this? Or whatever it is. It's just another great baseball brain to have available to you.
Yeah, just weird to have Ned and Q have like a conversation. They're just completely, in my opinion, they're completely opposite personalities, but maybe that's what works. I don't know. Maybe Ned
Opposites attract, right?
I mean, that's what they say.
When you say opposite personalities, what do you mean by that? Like, give me a little more.
I mean, like, Ned's more of like, he's more of like an ass, like, to your face and like will be like blatantly obvious, where like Q can be like a more like educated ass. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, where like Q's gonna be like, no, we don't really like think about it too much or anything like that. But that's last year. For instance, last year everybody would ask Cotrero, hey, like last year this time of the year you were 12 and 61, and now you're 35 and 18. Like, and he's like, yeah, we don't really care about last year. Like last year's in the past. We're moving forward. Whereas Ned'd be like, yeah, we're not really focused on that anymore, okay?
Yeah,
and you're like, you're like, all right, sorry, it's not asking questions. Like, well, we get these questions all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Next. Whereas, like, I don't know, he's just like short fused. Whereas, like, Matt Contreras kind of just like, yeah, well, like, that's kind of like your opinion, man. Like, that's kind of where that's at. Where Ned's like, you're an idiot. Shut up.
Ned was
like, okay.
Ned was always short fused, and he would always be like, he'd say like, Ned, do you believe that Moose is one of the best hitters in baseball? No, I don't believe that, but I think he can be.
Like Cotrero would never be like, what do you want me to do? Go pick him off of a tree, the third baseman tree?
Yeah, right.
Like, Cotrero wouldn't say that.
He wouldn't say that. No.
And like, you wouldn't tell Ned that.
What do you want me to do? Spank him?
Yeah. Right. I mean, there was a manager one time that wanted to feed him like no longer milk and cookies and shots of tequila. So I mean, like, that's how far back we can go if you really want to.
Yeah. Well, I'd love you, Muser.
Muse. But again, like, I mean, that's not a shot at either one of them. It's just that, like,
no, they're different personalities.
It's like in a restaurant working with different general managers. Like, I've worked with general managers that are like the cliche, like deadheads, like in their mid 40s to 50s that are just like, sarcastically mean. Like, oh yeah, I don't know your name because you're not wearing your name tag. You're like, oh, okay.
No.
Whereas like there's other guys,
like, that guy deserves a pop in the nose.
Where there's other guys, but I don't know. And then there's other guys that are just like, why don't you leave today so you don't have a proper uniform on and come back when you care? And you're like, dude, I left my name tag at home. It's not that deep. Let me just go get one. I'll pay you $2, whatever it is. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, we're at a name tag, man.
Yeah.
You got Sheila over here who's been late every day for a week, and you ain't yelling at her.
Right.
Whereas like Ned and Q are just like two different, managers. They just have, I don't know,
they're completely different personalities.
They vibe on different levels is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, they do. But it's always good to have somebody different around as well to give you a different perspective. I think that's important. Like, sometimes leaders surround themselves with yes men and yes women and yes people that just whatever they say, they're going to lap up and agree with.
Yeah.
To be an effective leader, you need to surround yourself with people who will push back because it makes you grow as a leader and see a different perspective. And I think having a 70-year-old perspective and being in an organization where there's a lot of young people in their perspective, I think you can mesh those two. So I think it'll be fun.
And I think this team has a legitimate shot to get to a deep run in the playoffs. I mean, they went to the ALDS last year, played the Yankees, lost in 4 games, and they have the 16th highest payroll in baseball, which is middle of the pack this year.
Which is crazy to think about, right?
They bring back their superstar. They bring back their veteran and their face of their franchise in Salvador Perez. Believe it or not, he's still the face of this franchise. I know Bobby Witt Jr.'s there, and you could argue that, but it's Sal. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And then you have Vinny Pasquantino coming back. You've revamped your bullpen to kind of give you a little bit more, I guess, security on your starting pitching that may not be historic like it was. That's not historic, but like fantastic like it was last year. But you're also bringing Cole Reagans back. You're bringing Lugo back. You're bringing Waka back. You're bringing back a lot of familiarity, which is kind of what they did in 15 out on the back of 14, even though they went to back-to-back World Series. I think that also ties in where Ned's there as well.
Yeah, I think it can be good for the young players to get the old man perspective as well. It can be good for some of the older guys to say, hey, man, I remember when you were managing, I can lean on you a little bit. And
Salvi can be like, I remember yesterday when you were my coach.
Yeah, like, hey, Dad, that'll be fun to have those two back together, too.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the social media videos that the Royals put out from spring training with Salvi and Ned. And gosh, bring Lorenzo Cain back, too. Let's bring the whole band back together.
Let him be a defensive coach.
There's nothing wrong with surrounding your organization with people that have won, right? That's why George Brett was around and still is around for so long. Greatest player, and still care about the organization as well, right? Yeah, and Lorenzo Cain and those guys, I mean, it's 10 years removed, but they're not far removed from baseball. These guys can still relate to guys like that, so that would be kind of cool. But I saw the payroll yesterday. 16th in baseball is an unbelievable kind of location for the Royals, because if I would have said, where do you think the Royals are in payroll, what would you honestly have answered that question?
I'd have said like you were between 20 and 18.
20 and 18.
Because all the money they spent last year. They were like one of the most.
True.
I think they spent the most money out of anybody in free agency last year. So I mean that moved them up significantly. But like if you'd asked that question 2 years ago, it'd be like 28th, 29th,
right,
somewhere around there,
down at the bottom. And I think it really does show the commitment of John Sherman. Like people who have said over the the couple of years that he's owned this ball club, he doesn't care about. No, they only 15 teams in baseball have a higher payroll than the Royals right now, and they're they're the second smallest market I think behind Milwaukee.
What's the quote you probably heard giving out stadium information all the time? Give me a product and I'll think about the stadium.
Right.
Here's your product.
Here's the product, and they've done a great job, with that. I can't wait to see. And I heard some stuff about the Sprint campus yesterday. More and more about this new stadium and potential. What they're going to have at that stadium. Like it's not just 119th and all. Apparently, it's the entire Sprint campus now they're talking about. So like, there's a lot of good things moving in the right direction for this Royals, and they're spending now in an antiquated stadium that doesn't generate the money like the Battery in Atlanta and places like that. When they move into a facility that will start generating money, they're already 16th in payroll right now and willing to spend in an antiquated ballpark that doesn't generate dollars, and you can't make money 365. When they have the new ballpark at a new ballpark district and they're making money 365 days of the year, you got to be excited as a Royals fan to see the direction of this club right now.
No doubt about it. Segment every hour coming up, or not a segment, but a poll question we'll bring up every hour. Moving forward on radio, what do you want? More Royals talk or more Chiefs talk? You're in a really weird space here, right? You're in that I feel out of it type of place because football season's over, baseball season's right around the corner. We're the flagship for the Royals and the Chiefs. We can give you both. What do you want more of?
I think it all depends for me. Like, this is a great time for the NFL because this is rumor season, right? I love that. But it's also such a great time for baseball because it's spring training. And spring training may be my favorite thing to do in the world. And baseball and Arizona and Florida and sun and all that kind of stuff. I love the beginning of baseball season. So I don't have an answer for your question, Dusty, because I think you could vote for both and not be wrong.
Somebody says from the 913, 69 years old and Valentine's Day, Ned is on the come.
Mm-hmm.
Stay true. You know what? If you're not at work because of the weather, just stay home.
You get a snow
Tell
day.
your boss you nailed the text line today at 96.5 The Fan. Coming up on the other side, someone else who knows a lot about 69 and Valentine's Day, Jay Binkley. He joins us on the other side here.
Don't take his advice.
Fescoe and Dusty on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Underdog app has been so much fun for the last couple of months of the football season, and now we enter into basketball season, and you have all those fast breaks, you have all those buzzer beaters, you got block parties. Basketball season can be great with the Underdog app, and with Underdog, you can bring all that excitement to wherever you watch. Playing on their app is as easy as choosing higher or lower on player stats like threes made, points, rebounds, and so much more. You get those selections right, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Millions of fans have won over billions of dollars on Underdog. Will you be next? I can tell you from firsthand experience, you're going to love the Underdog app. So I want you to sign up today and use that promo code BOB, and you'll get a free selection as part of your first cash entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. The good news is you can play in Missouri as well. Must be 18 and over. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.underdog.com. www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342.
Hey, it's Cole telling you about Max Motors. I was just recently at one of their 7 locations. Between Kansas and Missouri, they've got 7 locations, including one that's just 7 minutes from the Grandview Triangle if you're going 192 miles an hour. That's, of course, the Max Motors Harrisonville location. That's where I got a chance to drive a couple new cars, test drive, and find out exactly what the buying process can be like. They make it so easy. They tell you about the total cost of ownership, not just what your monthly payment's going to be. Max Motors has the best financing options available with the max trade-in values in the Midwest. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car. MaxMotors.com.
Fellas, this is Cody, and let's talk about getting back to your best. Maybe you lack energy, muscle mass, feel moody, have low libido. All of it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer, and you'll find the true experts at Low T Center. But guys aren't the same, so don't settle for standard dosage TRT programs. I learned about personalized treatment at Low T Center. Get the results with a customized TRT. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 referral credit when you refer a new patient. So go to lowtcenter.com to book an appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Granger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
With Target, checking off your Valentine's Day list has never been easier. First, surprise your favorite people with something extra thoughtful, like a soothing candle and a memorable scent, or a decorative picture frame to show off every moment. Both buy one, get one 50% off with Target Circle. And don't forget to treat yourself. Find the sweetest style for your special occasion with 20% off women's dresses now through Friday. This week, find Valentine's gifts for everyone you love, only at Target.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi, golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf, Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 16. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Right now, get up to a $15 gift card after rebate when you purchase select Superstart batteries exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Casey's has 8 new coffee roasts that have been described as having rich aromatics that entice any palate. But, we're not sure what that means, so we just call it darn good coffee. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. Now get a small hot coffee for 99 cents. See Casey's for details.
Advent Health welcomes the Casey Golf Show February 21st through 23rd at the Overland Park Convention Center. Test and buy big brands and enjoy new women's and kids programs Saturday at the show. Front door bonuses and tickets at kansascitygolfshow.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
69 Highway northbound exit to 435 eastbound is closed with treacherous conditions. They're plowing that to try to get it reopened, but it has yet to reopen. Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident, call Jay's Southland Tow Service, 816-779-4869 or southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments. They can do it all, so be in the know and call Jay's Southland Tow. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
It's time for the College Football Report with Jay Binkley.
I'm still not sure I'm not Dusty's dad, but regardless.
On your home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan.
Right back at it here on 96.5 The Fan. Our guy Jay Binkley joins the show every Wednesday, 6:45. Binkley, are you putting your beer in the snow yet to keep it cold for the day of just relaxation in college basketball?
Not yet, but that is one of my favorite things to do, Dust, man. Just you grab that beer, throw it there in the snow, let it get cold. Nothing better than that.
Dude, this weather's a big bag of suck.
Yeah, it's not great. I thought we were almost done with it, but winter's never almost done. I remember about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, Chiefs had a game snowed out in May.
Royals.
Yeah, the Royals.
Yeah.
Not the Chiefs, the Royals. It's on my mind. But yeah, the Royals. It was against the Angels. It was like
I thought it was against
Ohtani
Tampa. Well, it was Ohtani. That's right. It was.
It got frozen out because it got below like 36 degrees.
Yeah, it was crazy to watch all the players watch the snow in the dugout.
Yeah, it did snow. I don't think it snowed for the Ohtani game. It was just cold. But the Tampa game. Yeah, that was snow on that in May, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was Tampa, and everybody was in the dugouts watching because a lot of the guys are from the South. They don't see the snow, and so that was kind of cool. And also, we're in Kansas City. It was May, and we don't normally see the snow, so we can fall back on that one as well. So happy Valentine's Day. I'm sure you got some big plans coming up for Valentine's Day. But as we kind of sit back, kick back, and kind of decompress from the season, you texted me yesterday. You're like, the Chiefs need to get back to the St. Joe Chiefs. I'm like, they really never left St. Joe, but what do you mean by that?
I mean, get back to what they were going to be. I mean, you went to St. Joe every day was a bomb. It was a bomb to Xavier Worthy. It was a bomb to Hollywood Brown, and obviously that changed when Hollywood Brown was hurt a majority of the season. But it was an air-out attack, and that was the talk. The Chiefs, throw the ball downfield more. That's what they're going to do, and so it looked like it was going to kind of be a new offense, and then it kind of had to revert to ball control offense, short passes, trying to just move the chains. The Chiefs had the longest average drive this year in the NFL. They averaged over 3 minutes per drive, which was number one in the NFL, these long, methodical drives. But St. Joe was the home run time, man. It was home run hitting. It was throwing downfield. Every day you'd see, the highlights of Xavier Worthy catching a long pass from Mahomes or Hollywood Brown. But, get back to more of a wide-open style, attacking style, Kansas City Chiefs offense that you've seen in the past.
All right, Jay, I'm going to give you a couple names. Start easy, and then we're going to end a little bit tougher with back or gone. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Hollywood Brown.
I think gone.
DeAndre Hopkins.
No, don't think. Say what you would do.
I would bring him back. And clearly, Brett Veach made a comment right before the draft last year, or at the end of it, when he was talking about Hollywood Brown, once they signed him, and it said something like, well, this is going to be, a one-year deal, and, he'll probably only be here for a year. Because we all thought that. Hollywood Brown's going to come in for a year, then he's going to go make the bag. It's his last big chance at free agency to make money. And then when he's hurt the whole year, you kind of start thinking they could maybe get a reasonable contract for Hollywood Brown. His market wouldn't be that great because he didn't have any production this year. It's possible. I don't think he comes back.
DeAndre Hopkins.
No.
Okay. Juju Smith-Schuster.
No.
Charles Omenihu.
Yes.
Nick Bolton.
No.
Why?
I just been hearing linebackers just draft them, man.
Okay.
Just draft them. You don't want to overspend on an inside linebacker, and the draft is where you do get guys like Nick Bolton.
Okay.
Just like when they brought Drew Tranquil in a few years ago. That was a reasonable deal, and he got great production from it.
Last one, toughest one, Trey Smith.
I'd like to see him back, but I think he's going to be gone. That contract's going to be way out there. He's set in the market. I mean, he's pretty much the number 2 free agent in pretty much all the, top 100 free agent boards going forward. He's number 2, and you just can't pay everybody, max contracts. So you just can't do it. I'm not like the NBA max contracts, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And guards set the market last year. 2 years ago was the wide receivers getting crazy money. Last year was NFL guards making a ton of money. I think it continues at Trey Smith.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get paid in a big way, but this is where we are with this organization, Jay, and we're going to get into some possible trade scenarios and things like that that they could possibly do coming up in a little bit. I feel like this is going to be a very similar year to coming off the loss to New England and the loss to Tampa. I think we're going to see a lot of roster overhaul this offseason, Jay, and we may see guys traded and parted with like they did with Tyreek Hill that people will have a tough time on the surface digesting, but knowing overall it's going to be great for the organization.
Yeah, you got to do whatever you can, and you can't hold on to guys because you like watching the guy play, and you can't have that emotional attachment. This is a business, and you have to move forward. And this is Brett Veach's time. I mean, it was 31-9 in that Buccaneers Super Bowl, and I know that everybody feels really bad right now at what happened against the Eagles because it was a terrible game, and you hated seeing it, but that Buccaneers game is very similar. It was 31-9, and Mahomes had been running backwards for like 300 yards in that game, and it seemed hopeless after that game. It seemed hopeless, like, wow, this team got bad really fast. But no, they turned it around and came back. So very discouraging. But this is a challenging time for Brett Veach. I trust that he can do it. He's done it before. I expect him to do it this year. But the offensive line has to be a big concern. My biggest thing is I want to see him go back to just loading this offense up. I mean, this is what this team is. Here's the deal. You're never going to have a quarterback like this again. This is it. This is the window you have Patrick Mahomes. Like, I doubt the Chiefs will ever. If they do get a quarterback greater than Patrick Mahomes in the future, that's great. I mean, that's going to be hard to do. It's like New England. They're going to have a quarterback better than Tom Brady? No. Is the Chiefs ever going to have a quarterback better than Patrick Mahomes? Probably not. So I'll say no, they won't. But they never had one really before since Len Dawson. But will they be able to do it? So if you have Mahomes, you might as well load him up for as many weapons as you can. Take advantage of when you have a great quarterback. Don't load your defense when you have the best quarterback in your franchise's history. You have to understand, you have a window for Patrick Mahomes. You got to load that offense up now.
So with $11 million in cap space, I think it's like 22nd in the league, and the draft picks they have, I believe, 6. Is that correct? Where do you see them where do you see them using these draft picks in the first pick and the third round as well?
Well, it's actually, believe it or not, it's unlucky for the Chiefs. It's the second pick in the third round.
Oh, sorry.
They alternate Tennessee and Cleveland, and because they had the same record, so they alternate the first or every round's alternated between those three to finish last. So actually, it's pick number 66, so it's the second one in the third round. I think running back. I think they're going to go running back, not early, but mid, like third round, fourth round. I could see them doing running back because this is a very strong running back class. But don't be totally enamored by the running back. Yes, running backs are important. Saquon Barkley had a huge season, but in the Super Bowl he averaged 2.3 yards a carry. That Super Bowl wasn't about Saquon Barkley. I mean, the Chiefs got absolutely rolled, and it wasn't because of Saquon Barkley. Sure, he was great in the passing game, but you can get a lot of running backs that are good in the passing game. But I think they'll go running back. I think the tight end is a necessity. Been screaming for that for years. I still think they're going to go wide receiver. I think they still have to go wide receiver in this draft. Defensive line becomes a nice thing. I could see them if they go like Derek Harmon or somebody like that from Oregon in the first round. I could see them doing that. That's not a position to say, wow, I can't believe they did that because they need defensive line help. Offensive line, it's going to have to be a trade for left tackle because last year everybody was screaming for left tackle, and I was sitting there going, no, you need a wide receiver because – let me ask you, like Kingsley Suamataia, people actually wanted Kingsley in the first round, and they drafted Xavier Worthy.
What people?
Who helped this team more, Xavier Worthy or Kingsley Suamataia? Xavier Worthy. He became the best wide receiver on this team, and the receiver that led the Chiefs in receptions and yards in the playoffs before the Super Bowl and even extended it past that. So you always need wide receiver help, and Xavier Worthy was the pick because when you're picking 31, you're not getting an elite tackle. Last year was a great year for tackles, by the way, if that's what people are doing. 8 tackles are drafted in the first round. That was an NFL record. 7 was the previous record. 8 of them drafted in the first round last year. It's not going to be that this year. It's going to be about 4, I think, drafted in the first round. You better get up to, 15 20 at the absolute latest, but top 15 to get a left tackle. Because if you draft a 31, you're essentially getting a left tackle that's moving over to right tackle, or you're getting a guy that's pretty much suited for playing guard. You're not getting an elite level pass protector at 31.
Jay, do you think, because I feel like we're going to see like a Willie Roaf type of trade and go out and get a left tackle. You had mentioned acquiring one through a trade. I'm 100% in lockstep with you. I think we see a trade for a veteran proven left tackle this offseason.
Yeah, unless Humphreys can prove it. I know, Humphreys wanting to do stuff, but how funny would it be for the Chiefs to go out and trade Baltimore again and get Ronnie Stanley? We got Orlando Brown the last time, make a move like that. But yeah, someone that's proven, that's been in the NFL, someone they can trust. Mahomes needs to have that trust factor back. He have that trust where he can sit back there, because we know when he throws the ball downfield, good things can happen. And if he doesn't have time to do it, or doesn't trust his offensive line and have to wonder where that, rush is coming from, and the fact that they weren't even really they weren't blitzed at all in this game. It was just dominated up front by the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line. Just get some trust back. So I think it'll be an established tackle. I think that's the direction they want to go, because when they tried to sign Trent Williams, they went way into the night, like till 2 a.m., and it looked like they were going to get Trent Williams. Didn't work out. And then Orlando Brown became the necessity, because drafting one at that point, all those guys that were drafted at tackle at the end of the first round, they ended up being guards, or they ended up being right tackles. So the Chiefs had to make a choice, and they said, you know what? Everybody was saying, you've got to have a left tackle, got to have a left tackle. And the Chiefs thought that too. So, each mock draft, and then we were looking at tackles and everything, because that's what the Chiefs were going to have to do. But they made that deal for Orlando Brown. Now, a lot of people weren't enamored by Orlando Brown, but they really had no other choices, to be honest with you, because the draft wasn't going to provide a left tackle that year.
Well, Binkley, you got no other choice now to eat hot dogs and nachos with the onions and jalapenos on it, because it's baseball season, baby. And I know you're geared up and ready to go for this Royals team, my man.
Let's freaking go. What is the day? The 12th? Pitchers report today, pitchers and catchers.
Yep.
With the 17th of full squad. Let's go, man. Let's freaking go.
That's right, baby. Binkley, we appreciate the time. We'll talk to you again next Wednesday.
See you guys.
Thanks, Jay.
That's Jay Binkley. And don't forget, we do have our poll question on our Twitter handle or X handle at TheFan965. We will give you what that is, plus a trade proposal that one Bob Fescoe thinks could work for these Kansas City Chiefs here on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan.
Well, what are your financial goals? That's a question you probably have to ask yourself a lot. What are we trying to do here financially? Well, if you know what you want to do financially and you know where you want to go, Golden Oak Lending can help you get there. They've helped us over the years refinancing our mortgage, taking cash out to pay for home repairs, to pay for some credit card debt, to pay for whatever we kind of need. Those bills start to pile up and you're like, what am I going to do? I need some help and I need some relief. And Golden Oak Lending can help you get that help and relief. All you have to do is call them and have a free mortgage checkup. It's a conversation with you and the folks over at Golden Oak Lending. I've done this a number of times, right? And you have the conversation, you tell them where you want to go, you tell them how you want to get there, and then they'll see if they've got a plan that works for you. And if they've got a great mortgage for you that's better than the one you have, they'll let you know. And if they have one that isn't as good as what you have, they'll let you know that as well. They're not going to put you in a mortgage that isn't better than what you're currently in. And then your name's in their computer, and every 6 months they'll call and check in and see if there's something better for you. So take that free mortgage checkup right now. You can go 2 months without having to make a mortgage payment. We're talking not making a mortgage payment now until sometime early spring, maybe even the beginning of summertime. So call Golden Oak Lending now and take that free mortgage checkup. Risk-free, no paperwork or credit card required. Just call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD, and let Golden Oak Lending cure your blues.
There are a ton of ways to kick off your day. Gym grind, endless scroll, or snooze button life. But McDonald's has a deal that levels up your morning above the rest. Now at McDonald's, mix and match your choice of a fluffy sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles and sizzly sausage McMuffin with egg for just $5. With a deal this fire, there's no better way to upgrade your mornings than with a delicious breakfast. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
This Valentine's Day, shop at Hellburg and get up to 50% off select jewelry. Like a diamond pendant that says,
I'm so lucky I met you.
a stunning engagement ring to say,
Let's make this day unforgettable.
or an anniversary band to tell them.
10 years, and we still got it.
Come to Hellburg this Valentine's and get up to 50% off select jewelry and engagement rings. a perfect gift designed with the love and care worthy of your story. Visit a Hellburg store or hellsburg.com.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Keep your business in the know with the USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom! That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This report is brought to you by CareNow Urgent Care. Find one near you at carenow.com.
CareNow Urgent Care has 15 Kansas City area locations open 7 days a week. From injuries and illnesses to school and sports physicals, CareNow Urgent Care is here to help you feel better fast. Find a location near you at carenow.com and use our convenient web check-in today.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
On the Missouri side in Blue Springs, I-70 westbound gets heavy around Adams Dairy Parkway. You may have a lane blocked in through there. 69 highway northbound on the Kansas side, ramp to 435 eastbound currently closed. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Wake up with Fescoe and Dusty. Weekdays starting at 6 on 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Audacy Sports Station.
I'm loving it. Well, hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Gotta love a Wednesday when you think it's only Tuesday because of the week starting in New Orleans. So it's going fast this week, and now with the snow and everything.
Remember, it is Wednesday, so we're loving it. Yeah. Yeah.
My friend Paul just texted me. He goes, "Why do we need winter again? Can you tell me something that winter is beneficial for?" And I'm like, "Well,
kills mosquitoes.
That's exactly what I said.
Insects, flies,
kills the dust mites, right?
Yeah,
cools off Mother Earth. Ooh, that's not a good look on TV right now. That car sideways.
Oh.
Man,
it's brutal. But we do it every Wednesday. Our poll question, which is the Fescoe and Dusty Wednesday poll question. What do you want to hear more of on the air right now? Royals baseball or Chiefs football talk? Well, 158 of you have voted, and 84% of you have said Royals baseball.
Wow, that's up to 85.5% now. Royals baseball. Damn. Wow. What's the text line was opposite, though, wasn't it? Didn't you say, like, everybody was saying Chiefs on the text line?
There was a lot of it.
Yeah.
Which is, it's up to you. Because, some of you are like a lot of my friends where you're like, I don't want to hear anything about the Chiefs until we get closer to free agency window opening up before we get to the draft. And I need a break. And then it's like, okay, well, then what do you want to hear? Nothing. Right. Okay? Well.
I don't want to hear it anymore. No, I look.
You've got a positive baseball team.
Right.
You have former manager Ned Yost coming back to be an assistant to the general manager or an advisor to the general manager.
Right. Special advisor to the advisor.
You have a top 5 baseball player in the league.
Right.
And you have a promising season that you're riding on the back of.
Right.
So, you all right over there?
No, I'm just waving at the camera.
Okay.
We're here.
So
Hi.
I know what's going on over there. But no, I think there is a lot of that. And I think that, we play it fair on both sides, right? We say, can the Chiefs or can the Royals get us to training camp? They got you all the way to the bye week. house money. Can the Royals do it again? Can they get you to the football season? I think now it's no longer a matter of can the Royals get you to the point of, to St. Joe. Can the Royals get you into the regular season of the NFL? Can they give you what they did last year or maybe more? And then you have the Chiefs to discuss as well, because you'll have things that come up, rumors, you'll have fake tweets from Adam Scheffler, and then you'll have other stuff as well, which there could be a big trade this offseason. Binkley was just on, told us there could be some sort of like what you had mentioned, a Rofe trade, a Tyreek Hill type of trade, and two names that come up. And the number one that comes up as a possible trade candidate for you, Bob Fescoe, is
Chris Jones. I'm bringing up the name Chris Jones.
Max eyes just got wide, dude.
Look, I mean, they traded Tyreek Hill. Nobody is off the trade market, okay? And that's the one thing you still need to understand. And if you don't understand that yet, you're not watching this team properly. Everybody other than Patrick Mahomes, and now Travis Kelce, obviously, being in his last year or whatever, potentially, those are the two guys that are not available to trades. Everybody else is available to trades. And what did they do when they traded Tyreek Hill? They restocked that defense, and they got better. Did Chris Jones suit up for the Super Bowl? Does anybody know? Did he play? Because his stat line was a 0.
Injuries.
Yeah,
two injuries.
His stat line was a 0 in the Super Bowl. Now,
he hurt his neck in the first quarter.
You've got to trade somebody to get somebody in return. You're not going to trade, Ken Phelps and get somebody great back in return unless you're the Yankees. But here's the thing with Chris Jones. Second highest paid player on the Chiefs roster right now, almost 13% of their salary cap. Daniel Jeremiah, who's a draft nerd, right, and I like his work, had a tweet yesterday, and he said, at this time last year, I had 12 defensive tackles listed that I could see as starters in the NFL. He says, I've got 24 now this year. It is a very, very, very deep defensive tackle draft. Binkley even alluded to it as well. So if there are 24 defensive tackles in this draft, that's a
crap ton.
Right? And Chris Jones is getting up there in age, right? Wasn't that productive this year like we wanted him to be. And now that this three-peat run is over, would you be willing to trade Chris Jones in a Tyreek Hill type of trade? I ask you guys, would you be willing to do that? Because I would. Now, I'm a trade everybody guy. I'm always looking to flip the roster. And I know the Chiefs are always looking to flip the roster. That's how they stay on top. They don't fall in love with players. They fall in love with the process and everything that's going on. And in order to get somebody big back in return or good back in return or picks back in return, you've got to give something up. So I ask you guys, would you be willing to trade Chris Jones in a Tyreek Hill type of trade and get that kind of haul back?
So what, they got a first and a second for Tyreek?
I can't remember. Wasn't it like 2 seconds and a third or something like that?
Because that's the year. The next year they got McDuffie, Karlaftis, Chenal, Cook, all those guys in that draft, and Karlaftis.
Yep, it led to that 2022 draft where they were able to go out and stockpile and reset their whole team and turned into 3 straight Super Bowls. And so the Chiefs aren't afraid of trading players, right? They're not afraid of trading anybody, quite frankly, except Mahomes and Kelce at this point on the roster. Chris Jones may be the guy that you look to flip to bring you some collateral back in return to hit that reset button with this team. Because you know they lost. The bad taste is in their mouth. They ain't standing pat.
I mean, I can be convinced for picks and stuff. I just don't think you're going to get enough in return. I don't think that this draft, the picks are valuable.
Tyreek Hill was more valuable, in my opinion, than Chris Jones, and you got a lot back. Yeah. At that
point
on the
trade
in time,
market, you're absolutely right. There's no question on the trade market he's more valuable. To the Chiefs, I would argue, no way.
I think we're seeing the age in Chris Jones. That's why I bring him up.
He led the league in pressures this year, Bob.
I still think we're seeing the age in Chris Jones.
All right. I mean, he was the best at his position this season.
Okay, great. Led the league in pressure. So Tyreek Hill was the best at his position, when they traded him to Miami.
Which, to the trade point, you should be able to get a first-round pick then for Chris Jones.
There you go. You don't think you're going to get a lot in return. You're just saying he's the best at his position.
He's 31. Tyreek Hill was 27, 28.
Was the best at his position.
I think you can get one first. Yeah, I think you can get one first. Again, but to my point, I don't know, like you're talking about getting a left tackle. There's not a left tackle in the draft in the first round that you want that is worth trading Chris Jones for.
I didn't say just for a left tackle. I said to get picks. This team needs more than just a left tackle. This team needs basically an entire offensive line. It's going to need a lot on the defensive line as well.
I'm with you there, yeah.
And it probably needs a running back. I mean, Brett Veach has said on record, this year's free agency is the draft. And how many picks did you say they had, Dusty?
6.
6 in a 7-round draft.
Yep.
That's not a lot. And so if this year's draft is going to be your free agency, then you're going to have to find a way to get more picks to replenish this roster.
Yeah, I can get there.
Can this team pull a Luka trade?
That's where I'm looking too. What about Rashee Rice for Trent Williams?
Jeez.
I mean, that'd be
That's
your Luka
terrible.
trade.
Right? That'd be your Luka trade. That would be your Luka trade.
I would not want Trent Williams. But I might.
What about Andrew Thomas or Tristan Wirfs? Or like if you can get a top left tackle, but it's going to cost you Rashee Rice type of trade, would you be willing to do that? I mean, with the emergence of Xavier Worthy, it makes it, to me, a lot easier to consider trading a guy like Rashee Rice. And Bigley said, didn't he say the wide receiver draft was pretty good this year too?
Yeah.
Not bad, yeah.
It's not terrible. Plus the emergence of Xavier Worthy is huge. But again, like then you're taking out another big option for Patrick Mahomes, which Binkley said build the offense around Patrick Mahomes.
But Patrick, in my opinion, can't do anything until that left tackle spot's solidified. Binkley mentioned it when he said that Patrick Mahomes doesn't have the confidence in that left tackle spot. We saw that on the field in that Raider game, and then we saw it again the other night down there. So I don't think you can really worry about having weapons on your offense until that offensive line is solidified.
I would not take the Lucas strategy in this trade. We can talk about this more often in the show today. But, like, I would, if it were me, if you're going to get rid of Chris Jones and you're probably not going to bring back Nick Bolton, you're now losing two key pieces on your defense. If you are going to trade a guy like Rashee Rice that can bring back a Hall, I would almost go talk to Dallas and see what their plans are with Micah Parsons. Because if you're losing a linebacker and you're losing a defensive tackle, go get some more pressure with an edge rusher and Micah Parsons. That kind of, you can move Tranquil back over to middle. You can keep Chenal on the outside, keep Micah Parsons. You're going to lose Rashee Rice. Draft another rookie wide receiver that's been decent in the draft so far in the last couple of years. Still have Xavier Worthy. Yeah, you lose Rashee Rice, but you gain a guy in Micah Parsons who creates, I don't know, some sort of like, that would be like your blockbuster fantasy trade that would set the world on fire, where it's like, you know, third-year receiver and promising number one wide receiver Rashee Rice goes to Dallas, and they in return get Micah Parsons in like a third-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that may be. I would be loving that sort of trade.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, those are the moves, like those are the bold moves. If you don't trade Tyreek Hill, you don't go to 3 straight Super Bowls. You've got to be bold. You've got to be convicted. You've got to be willing to make the move that's going to hurt at that instance in time, but you know is the right move because it's going to grow your organization. And this organization got their ass beat in at the Super Bowl, and they don't like that feeling. So I just feel like there's going to be, I'm not saying Chris Jones or Rashee Rice are traded, but those are two type of guys that you have to talk about and consider, because those are the type of guys that bring you good, you know, collateral back in return.
Yeah, Rice or Worthy definitely on the trade block. I think that is more plausible to me than Chris Jones.
Rice
absolutely.
or Worthy. You think Worthy's available to trade?
I think either of those guys would be, you know, good trade. But I also think there's more good wide receivers.
And I guarantee you, those he's going to have conversations about everybody on this roster. There will, because that's what general managers do. They have these conversations. So when they say, sources say there have been, yes, there's conversations constantly about players. Hey, you want to trade Chris Jones? No, but that's a conversation, right?
Yeah. Cam Newton and Steve Smith had a conversation, and DeAndre Hopkins had a conversation, except his was on the web. We'll explain what both those mean here on the other side. You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on 96.5 The Fan, and it is your home for Kansas City sports.
Fescoe and Dusty.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
On Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan.
Well, I'll tell you what, have you ever wondered about the difference between spending 2 years searching for a home and finding one in just 2 days? The answer's simple. It's Dawn Sharp. The Sharp Homes team is dedicated to turning frustrated home seekers into successful homeowners throughout our region. Just ask Mary. After 2 years of unsuccessful house hunting with another realtor, she decided to reach out to Dawn's team. The result? They found her perfect property in just 2 days. But that's only part of the story. When it was time to sell her existing home, Dawn's strategic marketing attracted multiple offers on the first day, leading to a signed contract within 48 hours. The Sharp Homes team does more than just deliver results. They provide peace of mind. And the Sharp Homes team can give you options as well. If you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold, you can do that. Contact them to discuss their instant offer program. In fact, contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp with the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Google them, Sharp Homes team, or just pay them a visit at homesforsaleInKC.com. That's homesforsaleInKC.com, and start packing.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out.
Going down in the rinse change.
Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean.
Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Granger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Granger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. The one you love is the light of your life. And if you're like most of us, you want to do whatever you can to nurture your relationship. But if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction, you know the impacts the condition is likely having on you and your partner. ED is a relationship destroyer. It can contribute to depression, distancing, conflicts, and even breakups and divorce. And what's so disturbing about this is that most men who suffer with ED can be successfully treated, but a lot of guys don't seek treatment when they should. At Heartland Men's Health, we have protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases. In fact, if you're like most guys, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and maybe find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. So call Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Granger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Granger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Okay, so that's with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, grilled onions, ketchup, and hold the pickles.
You know what you like. You wouldn't order your burger just any way. Why should your sports talk be any different? With Chapters on the free Audacy app, you can choose the topics that matter to you most. Whether it's reactions, matchup previews, injury updates, or team news, quickly find what you really care about. Your football talk, your way. Download the free Audacy app and start listening today.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Missouri side 470 northbound at the I-70 interchange with an accident in the left lane. Police and tow truck on the scene. Northbound lanes are slow approaching. Kansas side 69 highway northbound exit to 435 has reopened. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Right back here on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. Plow driver here from the 913 refilling on fuel to head back out. all y'all small cars need to just go back home. It's not good out here. Just call it a snow day and let us work and clear the roads today.
I agree.
That's coming from a snowplow driver.
Right.
As we dive into the 7 o'clock hour, we've been here for about an hour and a half, maybe longer, almost 2.5 hours. We drove in about 4 o'clock this morning. It was gnarly. Doesn't seem to be a lot of traffic out there, but be safe. Just go slow.
Right. Go slow.
If
Take
you're
your time.
late, I'd hate to see if you get some sort of dock for being late today.
If you're late today, your boss writes you up. Your boss sucks.
Yeah, you
just be honest with you. You know, I'd quit on the spot. You're late today, there. Clem. Yeah, late. It's I don't know. It's first time I thought. First
fumble the ball there.
Yeah, you're late. Okay, what do you want me to do about it, Bill? Well, you're fired. I quit.
From the 620, can I have the name of the song you just played, please? I believe that is In the Club by 50 Cent.
Heck yeah.
And there's your confirmation. So yesterday, you got to be careful around this time of year from now until about April with fake tweets.
Oh, people still fall for these. Like 15 years later, we're still falling, right?
Because now you have the fake Shams accounts, you have the fake Schefter accounts, Rappaport accounts, Passan accounts, Glazer accounts, which they don't even exist, so don't even follow those.
But it's all coming kind of together now. Rumors in football, rumors in basketball, baseball, all of them.
And then we get the complete rebuttal back from the 816 delivery driver here, and the roads truly aren't that bad. Snow will be done soon as well.
Well, you're a delivery driver. You're probably in a bigger truck, and so when you're in that kind of truck, yes, it all depends on what kind of car you're driving. And me in the Bronco today, I was fine. But if you're driving, again, a two-door spec, you're probably not going to have success.
What's a two-door spec?
There was a commercial years ago, I think it was for McDonald's, that was talking about a two-door spec and whatnot. So
I thought that was like a shot at the boss.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Okay. Who? Our boss is named Roxanne. What does that have to do with spec?
Okay. But yesterday there was the tweet from a fake Adam Schefter account that said basically in layman's terms, Andy Reid has said that DeAndre Hopkins told him that he's retiring. And then DeAndre Hopkins replied to it, and it was all just a fake, hogwash of a tweet. DeAndre Hopkins never said that.
Right.
And then, so on and so forth. So got to be careful with those things.
Yeah, and he's a free agent after this season. Like, if I'm the Chiefs, honestly, I don't know like how this works in free agency. Do you have, or at the end of the season, do you sit down individually with everybody and kind of tell them your plans, or do you just go back to the facility and you pack up, and if we hear from you, we hear from you type of thing? If you're a free agent, like, there's no reason to bring DeAndre Hopkins back into the fold, in my opinion, here in Kansas City.
I saw a lot of things in the media about the refs, but obviously, what y'all gonna say now about the refs and us when there was a lot of touchy calls?
Yeah, come on.
Are y'all gonna report that? Are y'all gonna talk about the refs now?
Well, again, he's talking to the reporters, not Eagles, not anything, but still like that. We haven't heard that really all week.
Yeah.
When they were asked about bad referees at the podiums on the opening media night, it was like, whatever. What's the next question?
Right. Yeah, they didn't want to get into it. And then after the game, they get their ass handed to him. He dropped a big pass, and they're complaining about refs. Quite honestly, like, hindsight being 2020, I'd rather have the draft capital than DeAndre Hopkins. And now you see why they didn't get him the ball as much as they wanted to, because they wanted to keep that pick, right? Didn't it go from like a 5th to a 4th round or something like that if he played like 50% of the snaps, right? And so so they were able to give up a lesser pick for DeAndre Hopkins. But hindsight being 2020, which it always is, I'd love to have that draft capital back, because DeAndre Hopkins was a bust. I mean, he didn't really do anything for this organization from an on-field standpoint, to kind of make them better, to give you what you thought you were going to get. It's always been kind of the reason why I'm like, you're adding a veteran guy mid-season. I'm not a huge fan of this, but they needed a wide receiver at the time, so I wasn't going to, yell and scream. It was fine. I expected maybe a little bit more out of DeAndre Hopkins, guys. I don't know what you thought about it, but like, hindsight being 2020, would you rather take the 5th-round draft pick back now instead of DeAndre Hopkins? Probably, because I don't really remember him doing a whole lot that really helped get. He didn't have a catch in the Houston game, obviously, and dropped the big one in the Super Bowl. Like, in the games that mattered most, DeAndre Hopkins really didn't do anything.
I think the DeAndre Hopkins signing was, they needed somebody to help fill the void of the Rashee Rice miss.
Yeah, they did.
And if Rashee Rice comes back next year, and he's, we just did a topic of he could be traded, or not could be, but that's a possibility to bring back a Hall. If he is back next year, which I think is the likelihood of the scenario, then there really is no need for a DeAndre Hopkins.
Right.
And he was there to be that trusty third and short, third and mid. Can I throw it to you, catch it, grab it, get the first down, move forward? And then obviously we got the 60% of snaps throughout everything. But I don't think that he's necessarily an option on this team next year because you would have Worthy and Rice and Travis Kelce, and you're going to have the guy they drafted coming back at the tight end position as well, who I think they're going to try to get into the fold to try to see if he can be that replacement of Travis Kelce. Plus you have
why can't I remember his name
you
either?
have Noah Gray as well. I know it's drawing a blank. The tight end they drafted.
Yeah, from
big dude.
Jared Wiley.
Wiley,
yes.
Because he got hurt early in the year and there's kind of just kind of faded.
ACL, right? So again, not a whole lot of cap money as of right now. You have $11 million, and I get it. Like DeAndre Hopkins is a veteran; he's a potential Hall of Famer. But I think that this year his role was to be that trusted receiver that could fill the void for losing one of your main trust receivers from a year before. Now that guy's coming back. You went for your run, got to the Super Bowl, lost. I get it, but now it's probably time that you will depart because I don't think that you need his role here.
Yeah, you really don't. Like the DeAndre Hopkins trade kind of reminds me of when they got Larry Darrell and Darrell from the Padres for the Royals in 2016 or 17, and it just didn't work out, and those guys just didn't give you what you needed at the end of the day. And that's kind of where I was with DeAndre Hopkins. I was kind of excited about it. We saw Mac's face when they traded for DeAndre Hopkins. He was very excited about it. But again, that's why you just necessarily don't go after names that you know, because names that you know a lot of times are past their prime. And DeAndre Hopkins, he was a disappointment, man. And then to cap it all off with that big drop in the Super Bowl when I remember having conversations about how reliable his hands are, and he's had 8 drops in his whole career or something like that. I feel like he had 8 drops here in Kansas City alone. Like, it just didn't work. And so it's okay to move on from DeAndre Hopkins in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that, once the playoffs started and the whole, 60% snap thing, I thought that would be irrelevant. And you'd see his role kind of, extend. But it was Juju that was really the kind of the veteran guy that was getting more of the action. And again, maybe that's just because he was the one who was open. But again, there was a very clutch drop in the Super Bowl. I know that doesn't weigh down what DeAndre Hopkins was for this team. I thought he brought a lot of leadership, a lot of help to Xavier Worthy, guys like that. But again, it's more so about need and want next year. And I don't think you need him. Even if you might want him, you don't need him next year if you're having Rashee Rice back and Xavier Worthy, plus what you might find in the draft, plus what you have that didn't play this year, plus you had Travis Kelce coming back for another year, which I still think is 100% a possibility as well.
Yeah, what they also talked about, with Juju, I mean, they designed the first play of the Super Bowl to go to Juju Smith-Schuster, right? Like that's what they did. The first play of the Super Bowl is going to Juju Smith-Schuster. And so I think at the end of the year, they probably had more confidence, faith, and belief in Juju because he'd been here before. It just felt like it just didn't work, with DeAndre Hopkins. And sometimes things just don't work out. And that's why you don't normally see a lot of trades in the NFL during the middle of the season, because you're bringing guys in it takes a while to get accustomed to, and just because you know the name doesn't mean it's going to be a good player.
Plus, there could be another guy that comes out next year that's like an Adam Thielen type
right,
guy.
There's going to be another guy like this, like DeAndre Hopkins. If you need somebody, there's somebody out there that you can go get.
And they do need someone. They need depth. I mean, next year it's Worthy, Rice, and Remigio.
Right.
That's who's the wide receivers are on this team.
That are on your roster.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it like that, you're right. There's a big need at wide receiver.
I would take Hopkins as a depth piece, 4th or 5th
Over
guy.
Hollywood Brown?
No.
So would you rather Brown or Hopkins?
Brown.
Yeah, I would rather have Brown too. Yeah,
so
for sure.
Then that's another reason why Hopkins wouldn't be back.
Yeah. I don't think you bring back both of those.
No,
guys.
probably
you only
not.
bring back one of those 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and maybe one of those 4 if you put Watson in that category as well.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of guy that's kind of been the odd man that kind of sticks around for Patrick Mahomes because he has the over the top, he has the random. Oh, there it is,
reliable. He catches the
Plus
ball.
Noah Gray's back next year. You're gonna have him as well.
They gave him that big contract right
before the season
started. He was an effective player this year. He was a nice player for the Chiefs this year. But Brett Veach decides they want to move on from them. So what? I don't care. I don't fall in love with names anymore. It's all about the jersey and putting together the team that they think is going to be best. And if they think it's great with DeAndre Hopkins, by all means, bring him back. If they want to move on, who the hell cares?
And hindsight's always the worst part about sports because you could look back at the draft and be like, oh wow, they should have gotten Daniels instead of Caleb Williams, and then you could have gotten this guy instead of that guy, or everybody was excited when DeAndre Hopkins was we were all excited, but we were excited with the potential that we might have gotten, and then by the end of it, that excitement kind of muddles down that original day of excitement of getting him because you thought of what it could be and then what it wasn't, which kind of creates this conversation that you have today. That's why it works on both sides of the argument.
And that's why, too, expectation. If you had grandiose expectations for DeAndre Hopkins, then you were disappointed. I just had expectations that he would kind of be around and be there and, be a reliable receiver. And he really didn't do that ultimately here in Kansas City.
And someone says, was Hopkins not playing because he wasn't very good? No one ever said that, but that appears to have been the case.
Well, I think it's hard to assimilate yourself into an offense in October.
I think he's still good. I just think that there were certain plays that he had that were designed for him. And then when you get to the clutch part of the season, if those plays didn't sell you, they don't make the final cut. Like, that's just the way that goes.
Yeah,
so.
and also, too, I think, when you leave a situation and enter a new one, there's a huge learning curve. There's a big-time learning curve. And I know they work with DeAndre Hopkins, 24 hours a day for that first week, trying to gear up to get him to, get ready and be part of that offense. And, it was what it was. But ultimately, too, like, Patrick Mahomes probably couldn't utilize DeAndre Hopkins to the best of his ability either, because that offensive line never gave him the confidence. And I think that's what we have to go back to when we talk about that offensive line, the confidence that Patrick Mahomes has behind that offensive line. If you're an athlete at any level and you don't have confidence when you step up to the plate or you get behind that offensive line, you're not going to be able to do your best. And that's why it's so important, in my opinion, to revamp this offensive line, to give Patrick Mahomes that sense of confidence like he had, dare I say, when Orlando Brown was there, right? As much as we didn't like him, but at least Patrick had confidence back there, and you could see that confidence. By the time we got to the midseason, I think Patrick just lost all confidence in his offensive line, and that has a trickle-down effect.
Well, speaking of confidence, one guy that's never lacked it is Cam Newton.
How did you handle the pressure of being the top pick?
Let's put it in perspective. You're the top pick because what?
Leave play.
No. You're looking at it from a personal situation. I'm talking about from the professional situation. You're the top pick because that was the worst team in the NFL the year before. For me, I wanted to be the number one pick. You could potentially be the first pick, but bro, you have no way of impacting the game like a quarterback does. You can lock down the number one receiver. You can make impact plays on offense all you want, but it's still not like a quarterback. My issue is when I was the first pick, I went into a locker room of losers. Guys didn't know how to win. Guys didn't know how to prepare. It was a culture shock for me. The games don't mean a lot to a lot of people in the league like you would expect. It's just money. Not everybody has capabilities to be impact players. They're just players.
Cam Newton just spitting all sorts of facts in that soundbite. I mean, and I know I'm sure Mac at 26 years old hates to hear that people don't care about the wins and losses. They care about the money. But Cam Newton pulled the curtain back on a lot of stuff there. And then, of course, Steve Smith responds. He was upset that Cam called, you were 1-15. You're a loser. There's no other way around it. You're a 1-15 football team. You're a bunch of losers. And so that's why they had the number one overall pick. But it kind of got me to thinking, like, if you have the number one overall pick, Tennessee, this year, right, and you're going to draft a wide receiver, that guy's not going to have success. You don't have a quarterback on that football team. And until you have stability at your quarterback position and a legit quarterback, you're wasting your time drafting wide receivers and running backs. You've got to find that signal caller. Like, you can draft Travis Hunter, and you can put him out there at wide receiver at number one if that's what you want to do. Who's throwing him the football? And then he's not going to get the ball. He's not going to put up big numbers. He'll be labeled as a bust. Most of the time, these people fail in the NFL as players because the organization fails to give them the tools necessary to have that success. And that's why you look at a guy like Travis Hunter. You hope he goes to a situation where they've got a quarterback on their roster. But Tennessee doesn't. Cleveland doesn't. The Raiders don't. The Giants don't. Like, you're in those top 4 or 5 spots in the draft for a reason, because you don't have a good quarterback on hand. And then you draft a wide receiver, and then that wide receiver doesn't have success, and everybody wants to label that guy a bust. And so until you get that quarterback position figured out, I don't know, man. I'd go on defense if I was Tennessee.
I think there's a few things that Cam Newton says that are very anomaly-ish, if that makes sense. There's a couple outlier statements. One, Cam Newton is a very dominant personality and came from a very, prolific college career. And we saw Cam Newton at Radio Row. The guy is massive. You can see him from a mile away. And he's very bright. He's very colorful. He's very attractive on all sorts of facets, personality-wise, looks, everything. And I think when that sort of personality goes into a 1-15 locker room, that's a sort of change that just kind of is, it's just going to happen whether you like it or not. And I think Andy Reid's kind of like that when he came into the Kansas City Chiefs organization. He's like, hey, here's what we're going to do now. And if you don't like it, you can get out. But here's how I do my business. Here's how things go. Here's how I start from like ownership to PR to coaching to players. These are my expectations. If you believe in it and trust it, it will work. You see the result. Cam Newton goes into that team, wins MVP, takes to the Super Bowl, goes 15-1 in one season, right? Like completely turn it around. And I always go back to when I hear stories like this about a loser mentality of a locker room that completely gets changed by a dominant personality. And I go back to watching The Last Dance when Jordan was drafted by the Bulls. When he went to the Bulls, he said guys didn't care about anything in the games. They just kind of played grab ass in practice, and then they'd go out and do, their party activities, play cards, gamble, drink, do whatever. And when Jordan was young and wanted to win, he would go into practice and just run laps around these guys and was like, this is going to be the standard. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is how we're going to do it moving forward. And those guys were traded and taken away. And then Jordan and his team was built for 2 different three-peats. Another one of those anomaly type of personalities and athletes. When you see that guy, you're just kind of like, oh, my God. It's like Mahomes when he came and started throwing passes in practice. Travis Kelce's like, all right, I think I'm done being like a cocky, arrogant jerk. I'm just going to be a cocky, arrogant, great tight end now because I have a talent here that can take everybody up. So I do believe what Cam Newton says, but like you take a guy like Drake May and put him into a locker room and be like, all right, who's this guy? Because he doesn't have that sort of personality who walks in like, all right, SOBs, let's get ready. Let's go. This is how I do. This is what I'm about.
Coach does.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So like when you have that, it works. But not everybody has that when they get drafted. Not everybody is that big sort of like colorful, loud person that you've seen on TV being successful in college and also showing that in the next step of his career, which is the NFL. So there's a lot of truths into that, but there's also a lot of like things that cannot be because those certain people don't have that with their sort of, development of their character.
But I think that though only that type of personality can really only be, in my opinion, with your quarterback because you can have the great wide receiver, but we've seen wide receivers without. That's like people are investing this money into wide receivers. Unless you're solidified at the quarterback position, you're stupid. You're spending bad money on wide receivers because you need that quarterback. The quarterback, like Cam Newton, like that's what you want out of your quarterback.
Yeah.
You want that guy that's going to come in there. He's going to be the leader. He's going to turn things around. But a wide receiver really can't do that because you don't have that impact on the field. Cam Newton had the impact off the field and on the field as well, and being that quarterback, just like Patrick Mahomes, just like Andy Reid. Like, you have to have your big-time positional players be those leaders, be the guy that everybody's going to follow, and be the guy that turns that culture around. A wide receiver, offensive lineman, running back, they just don't have the ability to do that because it's not about them. It's about that quarterback. So Cam Newton handled it perfectly in Carolina. What he did, he took him to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. I mean,
and I'm sure Steve Smith became a better player because of Cam Newton.
But in the downside of Cam Newton is that all of that is a lot of smoke and mirrors. Because in that Super Bowl, he kind of showed his ass. Like he didn't go to the fumble after the game at the podium. He got up and walked away. And it's easy to have that conversation. But again, like that's why Cam Newton is so like out of both sides of your mouth, right? Like he had the comment not too long ago about how he wouldn't give away his MVP for a Super Bowl trophy.
Right. You're right.
That's not a leader. But then he talks like this, like, oh, I went in that locker room and I knew I was a leader. I knew who I was. I knew that team sucked. Like I carried my, and that works, but that can wear out fast when you don't continue that sort of attitude. And, even a guy like that doesn't have a huge rah-rah personality, but a guy like Alex Smith when he came into the Chiefs organization, like he was a quarterback that was a leader, but he didn't lead by his voice. He just kind of led by his persona. Like he led by his leadership. Yeah, like he was the kind of guy that knew the system, was older than everybody, knew what Andy Reid was trying to do, and was like, hey, trust this guy. He'll show you. And then taught Mahomes his way, and then Mahomes has done everything since then.
That's right.
I think it depends on the level of talent of the player and like their personality as if they can change it. Now, obviously, you want that to be the quarterback, but I would say that since Minnesota drafted Justin Jefferson, they've kind of taken a different step towards things, right? He's made their quarterbacks better. He's made Kevin O'Connell able to trust his quarterbacks like a Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins. Like, hey, if 18's over here, continue to look his way.
But you have that coach, too, who sees that game as because he was a quarterback, right? And I think Kevin O'Connell helps move that process, forward as well with Justin Jefferson and those quarterbacks because you've got a good coach that knows how to put any quarterback seemingly in position to be successful. But Tennessee doesn't have that. They got an auto parts guy selling, the stuff down there. But that's also a problem in the NFL is like we don't give guys time as a head coach anymore, truly to build the program. I mean, Gerard Mayo, like him or not, was fired after 1 year. He had no chance, no shot to build anything there in New England and get that job done moving forward. So there's a lot of panic. Like not New England, but Tennessee now has a new general manager, I believe, right? They ran Carthen out of the town, right? City. That's right. Borgonzi's going down there, right? So what do you think they're going to do down there? Very much like what we saw here in Kansas City. But that quarterback doesn't exist. Tennessee has the number one pick, like the Chiefs had Eric Fisher that year. Who do you take at number one? I just don't think in this draft, if you were Mike Borgonzi in Tennessee, you're reaching for a quarterback in this situation. I would rather sign Sam Darnold for a year or a couple of years as a stopgap guy, or maybe you go out and you get you make a trade for Matthew Stafford, because clearly, I don't know what his wife is putting blurred pictures up and all this kind of nonsense. Maybe you make a trade.
There's your first problem.
Yeah, you make a trade for Matthew Stafford or a veteran quarterback like they did for Alex Smith. And then you draft literally the best available player at number one. Whoever you believe that player is, do not listen to what anybody else tells you or anything of that nature. You draft legitimately the best player. You get your Alex Smith quarterback, and then you can start building your franchise. And then when that Patrick Mahomes guy is there, who are similar, then you draft that guy at quarterback. Tennessee's going to be a fun watch because I think Borgonzi's going to do it a lot like we saw here in Kansas City.
Two quarterbacks might be a little bit delusional. One, obviously. The other one, well, it's just you can't make these sort of expectations for yourself. We know the history. We'll talk about it next on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City Sports.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty.
What the hell's wrong with your station?
On Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan.
Yeah, I know you're not looking at your lawn today because it's covered in snow, but once that snow dissipates and that snow is gone, Aspen Lawn and Pest Control is going to give us the best looking lawn on the block. I've been fighting my lawn for years. I just don't know what to do anymore, and so I called professionals. Folks who went to college, have degrees, know what to do when it comes to giving me the best looking lawn on the block. And at Aspen Lawn and Pest Control, they get the job done right the first time. And you see those iconic blue trucks all over Kansas City, and then you look at the lawns that they're in front of. You're like, dang, that's a beautiful lawn right there. That's because the folks at Aspen Lawn and Pest Control know what they're doing. They've been doing it in Kansas City since 1985. And I'll tell you what, after this spring, everybody on my block is going to look at my lawn and have envy of my lawn instead of me envying their lawn. Right now, you'll get a free estimate and up to half off your first application when you mention you heard it right here on 96.5 The Fan. So take the trusted professionals and expect the best. Don't wait. Call today or just visit them at aspenlawn.com. That's aspenlawn.com.
What I was told was bone on bone. I was going to have knee replacement, and I do not like surgery.
Desperate to avoid surgery, Julie decided to check out QC Kinetics non-surgical regenerative treatments.
My daughter actually works in a Chapel Hill, North Carolina lab, and I sent her all of the information that I was given, and she's like, oh, Mom, this is for you. I've heard great things about this. She's like, you need to try it before ever doing surgery.
Julie started the QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments right in the office, using her own healing properties to help restore her damaged tissue.
I know, my daughter was right. Yeah, it's nice when you've got that person you can go to who might have a little bit more information, especially on the science of it. QC Kinetics, it's life-changing.
Find out if you're a good candidate. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Are you ready to start feeling your absolute best? I've got the perfect solution. Stretch Zone, your destination for practitioner-assisted stretching. Whether you're an athlete looking to enhance performance or someone seeking relief from the daily grind, Stretch Zone's personalized stretching sessions cater to all levels and lifestyles. Unleash your potential. Let Stretch Zone guide you to a healthier, more flexible you. 6 area locations. Book your session today at stretchzone.com. Stretch Zone. Stretch, work, play, repeat.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print it all for my business. Oh, if you can think it, Staples can print it and will beat any print quote. Oh, great. I'm thinking new brochures and yard signs? No problem. I'm thinking calendars, t-shirts, and pens. Totally. I'm thinking Staples is the place for printing. I thought you might think that.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Granger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Granger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place. For changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. The new year is here. Home values are up, and you have more home equity than ever. Now is the time to put that home equity to work for you. This is James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. Credit card balances are at an all-time high. Why pay 25 to 30% interest to them when you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call? Golden Oak's mortgage rate is 5.25%. We have no fee to apply and no out-of-pocket cost. And if you call today, you could make no payments for 2 months. But don't wait. This rate won't last forever. Imagine how good it will feel to have those bills paid off. At Golden Oak Lending, we can make that happen in as little as 14 days. And if for any reason your loan doesn't close, we will pay for your appraisal. Call today and take advantage of our 5.25 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
6.19 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas side, 35 northbound ramp to 635 northbound. Very heavy and slow right now as you make that interchange. There may be a stalled in the area, making things a little slower. That exit lane is quite heavy. Alan Carr, 96.5, The Fan, traffic.
You guys will respect this text. As we go to the text line, the J Southland Tow Service text line to respect the text. New bit coming in the winter months since football's over. From the 816, guys, just got back to work and the secretary asked all of us if anyone was military or former. The reply all guy responded, Army retired. We have one here too. You just respond to the person, not the group. So we're still getting the reply all. It's yet to be.
We're going to get one today when they say, hey, if you can't make it in, please just do whatever you have to do. And we'll get the hope everybody remains safe today. I was waiting for that one.
We got about 11 minutes till we get our first company-wide email, which is the happy birthday and happy anniversaries.
Right.
And then it's the congratulations, happy birthday. Hope everyone made it safe in and out of work today. Hope you made it safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But it does look like there's more activity out there.
A little bit more out there. I just talked to one of the guys that came in, our guy down the hall, JR. He's like our ops manager. I said, how are the roads? He said, pretty bleepy out there. I said, yep, I can see that. So that's somebody who's just out there on the roads. And, I think it does kind of look like the snow is a lot lighter than it was this morning. It's starting to just like kind of flurry a little bit out there right now. So hopefully it has dissipated and we can get the plows out there and clear those roads and get everybody around the town safe today.
Pretty hysterical that the Pittsburgh Steelers have made it evidently obvious that they do not want Mr. Littlefinger Aaron Rodgers.
Isn't it great? Sean Elliott, who plays for the Steelers. Tweets. There's a graphic trending. Steelers may be interested in Aaron Rodgers, and this guy tweets, leave his ass at the retirement home. That's a player on the team.
Yeah. So he's not going to Pittsburgh.
Don't bring him here.
I mean, like the guy, would they say that like the reason that the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Jets didn't want him to do any more McAfee interviews?
Yeah, they told him that was kind of the deal. Like they sat him down, I guess, last week, and I just watched a cop car peel out right here on Squibb Road. Yeah, he just kind of came out of our parking lot and fishtailed a little bit.
Sir.
Yeah. Be careful out there.
Low and slow. Also, great snacks.
Yes. Nice. So he I guess he met with the Jets last week, and they one of the things was that you can't do McAfee anymore, which I don't blame them. I mean,
but they also let him do it. Now they're not going to let him do it.
It's a new regime. It's a totally new regime. New general manager, new head coaches, new bosses are in there, and they're telling them, hey, I'm the new guy in town, and you're not doing it anymore. Well, then I'm not going to play for the Jets. Fine, we're good with that. If you don't want to be here, and McAfee is the reason why you don't want to be here, we don't. Because what he was doing, he's going on, he's undermining the team. He's getting involved in stuff that probably shouldn't be involved with, and talking about like he became a major distraction. That show that he was on, that segment, I should say, that he was on. I would argue, and I don't know if you guys agree or disagree or whatever, would you agree that it was probably the most important / listened to, watched football segment of the week on any platform was when Aaron Rodgers went on Pat McAfee? I guarantee you more people in the league, around the league, fans paid attention to that segment every week than anything else NFL related. What do you guys agree or disagree on that?
I think it depends on the day or the moment in Rodgers' season last year. Like, and also, I think it helps with streaming and being able to go back and watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot of people are like, I'm not going to watch Aaron Rodgers. He's a blowhard. I'm tired of hearing what he has to say. And then it's all of a sudden, did you hear Rodgers today on McAfee show? You're like, hang on, So it's like,
yes.
Yeah, like it's an attention grabber for sure. But, I mean, I didn't think about the new regime, and that's a very good point because, like, that is one of those things, like, that could happen. Like, I don't know, Carrington's on Fox 4 every Friday at 9. That'd be like if Speck left and let's say Rob Bretton took over, he'd be like, hey, buddy, like your priority is 96.5. Like you're no longer doing shows on Fox 4 on Friday at 9. You're just not doing it.
Right.
That's your boss telling you that. And if your boss says that, you have to be like, okay. Or you have to be like, I don't really want to do that. It's like, well, if you don't want to do that, then you can go find somewhere else to work and they can let you do that then. And you're like, oh, shoot. Okay. My bad. Again, that would never happen here. I'm just saying, like, giving it like an analogy that's close to home.
Yeah.
But like,
they also told Rodgers he had to be there for all the offseason activities this year, and he said he wasn't interested in doing that. But we've got a new regime, bro. Like you need to be here if you're going to be the quarterback, and we don't want you going on McAfee. Other than that, we'll be happy to have you back. You're not interested? Great. We knew you wouldn't be.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah, perfect.
See ya.
Yeah, and that's their way of saying he quit. We didn't we didn't fire him. He quit. He didn't like the new rules, and you're taking over a Jets team that's been total dog crap for 50-some years. I mean, that's the worst organization, arguably, in American professional sports. They have the longest playoff drought, right? And so we're coming in, and we're going to put down some, and that's part of the problem. You let Aaron Rodgers do whatever he wanted and never held that guy accountable, and it had an impact on everybody else in the organization. At times, I don't think people realize that. Like, if you're going to do different rules for different players, fine. Jimmy Johnson did that with Emmitt Smith and all those guys. You sometimes earn it. Rodgers didn't earn anything. They had a coach that had no backbone and spine, and you just kind of let him run amok, and it had an impact on everybody because they saw what Aaron Rodgers was able to get away with, and so everybody else was probably thinking, well, it's not that important, so nobody was putting in the work. You got to cleanse that guy out of your organization. If any organization brings him in, they're fools.
Speaking of fools and organizations, the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott are high up there. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, according to Todd Archer, who did the story on this. Todd Archer is an ESPN NFL Nation reporter, covers the Dallas Cowboys and has covered the NFL since '97. Quarterback Dak Prescott says, I believe this team is, quote, very close, end quote, to its own championship. I don't really know what its own championship means, but apparently he means the big game winner of Super Bowl 60 is possibly the big game or its own championship that they think they can win. You kind of put this in as like a Dak Prescott. It's a very Dallas thing to do.
Oh, it is a Dallas thing to do. It's marketing 101 for the Cowboys.
That ain't happening. I'm sorry. You're the third best team in your division. And one team is a quarterback and one more player away from really kind of giving you a battle for the third best team in your division.
Yeah, depending on who the Giants get at quarterback this year will kind of rank that hierarchy of the NFC East. There was talk about them potentially getting Matthew Stafford yesterday.
I mean, imagine if they just go get Stafford and Cooper Kupp to go with Malik Neighbors and that rookie running back as well. I mean, that could turn that franchise around for a little bit. I don't know if but it would make them.
Matthew Stafford could be their Alex Smith.
It could be better than Dallas. I mean, Dallas has Dak and CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons still. I get that, but it's like, you're not close to a championship.
You just fired your coach and hired a guy who's never been a coach. I think the odds would be better that Brian Schottenheimer gets fired before the season's over than Dallas winning a championship in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I mean,
The last time we won a Super Bowl, I could still get hard without taking a pill. Nowadays, my dinger just looks like a wet biscuit.
You're not close to anything as long as that guy's your
and that's
running the
other thing,
operation.
yeah.
So coming up on the other side, streaming, it's here to stay. We'll tell you why. Fescoe, Dusty, Mac here on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City Sports.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty. Make sure to follow us on Instagram @TheFan965 for behind-the-scenes content from the show. Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan.
Well, you know, it's here. It's a snow day, and you're looking for something to do later on today. Once the snow dissipates and the roads are clear, you're going to take your kids bowling. They're going to want to get out of the house. They're going to want to do something fun, and you're going to want to get out of the house as well and do something fun. And that's why bowling is the answer, because bowling is perfect for everybody, whether you're a kid or an adult. You're going to have the best time at Foaling. And Foaling is football plus bowling plus bar, and that's Foaling Warehouse, Kansas City. It's KC's funkiest sports entertainment venue, and they're located off of 435 and State Line. If you haven't been yet, you got to get down there because you're bowling with a football. You're setting up those bowling pins. You're knocking them down like it's nobody's business with the football. You get them down first. You win. You get bragging rights, and then you re-rack them and you play again. They've got an unbelievable bar, a great beer selection, and you can cater your own parties at Foaling as well. You can bring in your own food. And now on Mondays, they have Bar League Jeopardy, and it's hosted by Pat Kerr, who's a bartender at Foaling, but also a champion from season 18 on Jeopardy. Geeks Who Drink, I've put this on, and it's only available at Foaling every Monday night. So get online right now at FoalingKC.com, reserve a lane, and have yourself the time of your life. It's FoalingKC.com. Get your Foal on.
98 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of Kansas City has been repairing and replacing garage doors. Locally owned and operated since 1927. Headquartered in Olathe. Always look for the iconic red ribbon of the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. For same-day repair service 24/7, call Overhead Door Company of Kansas City, 816-221-0072, or schedule online at ohdkc.com.
Jewelry Gram, it's your friends at Shane Company here to remind you that Valentine's Day is Friday, February 14th. It's the most romantic day of the year to give and get fine jewelry. We have expertly crafted gifts for every type of sweetheart. For the one, we'll help you propose with the dream engagement ring. Come see our wide selection of hand-picked natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes. In stock and ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Or maybe you'll fall in love with the natural colorful gemstone. At Shane Company, we're known for our sapphires in every color of the rainbow. We have options for every style and budget. Get creative and design a custom necklace with meaningful charms, including 14-karat gold letters, engravable hearts, and birthstones. Our mother-of-pearl heart-shaped collection makes a perfect gift that's ready to give. At Shane Company, love is always in the air with our unmatched free lifetime warranty, everyday competitive prices, and no-pressure shopping experience. Come see us in-store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This Valentine's Day, fall in love with Hy-Vee. The classic dozen roses, just $19.99. Avoid the restaurant hassle and treat your Valentine to a home-cooked meal featuring bacon-wrapped filet, salad, bakery fresh baguette, twice-baked potatoes, vegetable, and dessert for just $35 a couple. Top it off with your favorite bottle of wine or spirits from Hy-Vee's wide selection. One stop makes this Valentine's Day the sweetest ever, only at Hy-Vee.
I love Hy-Vee for so many different reasons, but one of the things I love most about Hy-Vee is their customer service. Everyone that works at Hy-Vee is awesome. And you know what else I love about Hy-Vee? I don't have to sacrifice quality and service to get low prices. Hy-Vee just dropped the price on thousands of items in every aisle, in every department, on items I buy every day, both in-store and online. Hy-Vee even match prices with the nation's biggest discount stores. So check out Hy-Vee today and get those low prices only at Hy-Vee.
This report is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts, your professional parts people.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This report is brought to you by Care Now Urgent Care. Find one near you at carenow.com.
Care Now Urgent Care has 15 Kansas City area locations open 7 days a week. From injuries and illnesses to school and sports physicals, Care Now Urgent Care is here to help you feel better fast. Find a location near you at carenow.com and use our convenient web check-in today.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas side 35 northbound exit to 635 northbound is closed. Police have blocked that to deal with a stalled semi in the interchange on the left shoulder. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Audacy sports station.
Right back here, 8 o'clock hour on 96.5 The Fan. We're here for you. So if you're at home watching on the streaming device, you can do that as well. Also, never forget that it is a wonderful Wednesday here in Kansas City. The weather might not show the same, but you can always remember we can.
I'm loving it. Well, hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Bob asked me in the break if we play the Buffalo Bills again this year. I said, of course, they won their division. So do we. So you play all the division winners, and then you said we play the AFC South.
AFC South this year, yes. We're at Buffalo this year. And then,
shocker.
of course, we're at Dallas, Jacksonville, Giants, Tennessee, and Buffalo. Those are the road games this year. For the Chiefs, the unique ones at home this year, other than the division ones, obviously, Houston, Indy, Philly, Washington, Baltimore, Detroit. That's a hell of a home slate, isn't it?
That's awesome. Washington will be cool. Seeing Jane Daniels.
Baltimore, Detroit, Philadelphia, all playoff teams. Houston, playoff team.
Who's going to bid the highest for that Philadelphia Chiefs rematch in Kansas City?
when do you think that game gets put on the schedule?
I would say within the first month of the season to keep the relevancy there.
I agree.
Plus, it's going to be a Sunday night football game.
Yeah, it'll probably be
Sunday or Monday night, right?
Speaking of that, did you see the tweet that NBC put out after the Eagles won the Super Bowl?
No.
Immediately after the Super Bowl, NBC/Peacock puts out a tweet. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles, the first team to ever play an international game on a streaming service only to win a Super Bowl.
Ouch.
But who cares?
But I exactly, like, I don't know. That's just trying to insert yourself into the story, like we see all the time. But streaming, guys, is here to stay. The final kind of numbers of the NFL came out over the last couple of days. Thursday night football, highest audience ever in 19 years of Thursday Night Football being a thing on streaming.
Wow.
And then to take it even one step further, Netflix, because of the 2 NFL games on Christmas Day, they had their highest stream month in 2 years. So these streaming services are going to continue to bid for these games. I'm going to be interested to see how Fox and CBS handle this thing, because they're kind of the odd men out in all this. It's like they cherry pick all the games away from them, and then they get the Colts and Jags at noon on Sunday. Meanwhile, all the other networks and streaming services have their game. But I think we're going to get an international package. Obviously, Christmas Day is going to be on a what this year, a Thursday. Yep. So there's going to be that, the Thanksgiving package. They may sell a holiday. Who knows what they're going to do? But there's going to be more streaming involved. Are we used to streaming now as sports fans? Have we finally just accepted that, right? I think because I didn't hear much complaining this year at all about a playoff game being on Amazon, I think it was this year. There wasn't that complaining like there was a couple of years ago when the Chiefs were on that Peacock game.
Because I don't think I think Amazon is like more genuinely owned. So it's just kind of
like everybody has Amazon.
Because of like the reasonings. Just real quick, go to our X page, Fescoe and Dusty Wednesday poll question. What do you want to hear more of on the air right now? Royals baseball, Chiefs football. 332 votes are in. 80% Royals baseball, over 20% Chiefs football. The crowd is
wait. It switched.
It's
no. It's the same.
It's the same.
Oh, it's been the
Royals.
Okay.
Royals are commanding leaders in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
But no, Amazon, I think everybody just kind of has it. And it's kind of one of those things where, like, every year it's going on Thursday Night Football. Like, where it's at now. Like, it's there.
Right.
It's not a hard sell, right? Honey, what's your Amazon Prime account? I need to type it into the TV. Why? Chargers and Vikings are playing. It's a big game, and I got fantasy players and bets. So that's a reason why, right? It had its highest number in 19 years, like you had mentioned. Seen an average of 13.2 million views on a Thursday Night Football game.
I mean, it's great. But you mentioned earlier, before we came back, that's because they had good games, and they did this year.
Yeah,
they flexed a Thursday night game and whatnot, but you got to keep your TV partners happy. I don't know how happy Fox and CBS are at this point, though, and we'll figure that out as they go away. But which game to you, I mean, looking at that home schedule, Philadelphia is obviously the premier game this year, right? Like, that's going to be the one.
And the Chiefs and Broncos and or the Chargers will be a Thursday night game because those teams are now much better than they were in the previous years. So that's a big sell now. Like, Broncos obviously had the 38-0 shutout in the final week of the season, lost by a blocked field goal.
That's not going to be a noon game this year.
Chargers, Chiefs, that's going to be a 3:25 standalone game on a Sunday afternoon, and it could also be a Monday night game, could be a Thursday night game. Hell, it could be a Sunday night game.
The Chiefs literally have an entire rematch of their playoff schedule at home this year. Houston, Baltimore, Philadelphia, on the road to Buffalo. But, that's a hell of a home schedule. Like, does Houston ring the bell for people, or is that still kind of considered a noon?
This is a year where they got to come out hot.
Yeah.
Right? They've been to back-to-back playoffs. They've won playoff games in the last 2 years. Nico Collins is a stud. C.J. Stroud's good. Their defensive front is awesome. They had they were 15 minutes of fame with the horrific play calls from the refs against the Chiefs.
Right.
They're a team that has more to answer. This is year 3. We talk about windows. We talk about rookie quarterback contracts. This is the C.J. Stroud year. You want to go get paid? You want to go get one of those big old deals like everybody else gets? Go out there and ball and go to the playoffs again in a crappy division.
I mean, I'm looking at the schedule, and I think there could be 3 noon games away. And I don't know, like the entire home slate, with the exception of Indianapolis.
That Colts game will be at noon.
Yeah.
That Texans game I could see being at noon.
I can too.
I could see it being also like a game that's on a holiday. Like if they have a holiday game this year, if they do play again on Christmas Day, I could see that being a noonish game on Christmas Day again. But let's see.
Which I wouldn't hate.
The Jags is away or is that home?
Jacksonville is away.
That's a noon game. Noon. That's a week 2 noon game.
Yeah.
That's a week 2 noon game that you get because you're going to have your first game of the season.
You think they play Sunday night to open the season? Because obviously Philly gets to Thursday. Do you think we play Sunday night to open the season?
If they open the season on the road, they might play that Buffalo game on Sunday night because you get the Super Bowl rematch on Thursday, or the Super Bowl team that plays on Thursday night to open the season. Keep a strong. Remember how strong the slate was this year.
Where are the Royals in the first week of the NFL season? Matt, can you look at the?
I think they're on the road to Minnesota.
Okay,
I could be wrong.
because that's what you
I
have
know
to take
they're
that
on.
into
I know they're on the road
consideration.
first because I hate it. Because I hate when your team's on the road to start the season.
You do?
Because then opening day is like not as cool. Like you want the opening day, first day of the year to be in your stadium.
You talking baseball or football?
Baseball.
Oh, baseball,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
and then it's
'cause,
like they go play 3 games, they go play 2 games, they come back, and like opening day's been like 2 weeks. You're like, technically it's not opening day for us.
Right.
You know, we got 2 weeks.
The Royals at one point had a second opener, you know, like where they weren't home at the beginning and they came back like 0-5 at that point. Yeah. They were like, not interested, right? Like if you're the Royals, you got to have that opener at home. But now, if you're going to be winning, it really, doesn't matter. Where you should never have home openers, Cleveland, Detroit, New York, places like that where it's going to be cold. But, I think if the Royals are obviously home on that Sunday, which is the Sunday after Labor Day, then the Chiefs are going to have to be on the road, right? And so if they have to open the season on the road, do you think they want to give that Buffalo game early?
I mean,
it's always seemingly later in the year, right?
Well, every time they do, you're risking injury. You can really sell your season to start the season, right? Like this year, it opened up with, I believe it was Chiefs and Ravens on Thursday Night Football.
Right.
Then it was Philadelphia, Green Bay, and Brazil.
Friday night,
On
yep.
Friday night. And then Sunday was like, I don't know. I think Buffalo played Sunday night or Monday night. It was like Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday. It was just like bang, bang. It was like the NFL is here and it's ready to go, like week 1.
Right.
And again, I can get on my phone and look at that schedule. But when do the Royals? They're on the road to start.
I figured Emily beat you to it, but she didn't. So
I'm looking at when the football season starts, right? For the Royals, September. That's what you want to talk about?
Yeah, like the Sunday after Labor Day. Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't talking about opening weekend.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
No, the football season starts for the Chiefs the Sunday after Labor Day. Yes.
Yeah, they'll be September 4th. They're at home. And
wait, when's Labor Day? First Monday in September.
Speak it into your Siri.
Yeah.
Probably like September 8th.
Is Labor Day late this year?
September 1st.
September 1st. Okay, so Labor Day is early this year. So that would be the 7th, I guess you could say, on that Sunday, the 7th.
Yeah,
are the Royals home?
They're home.
So the Chiefs are opening on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so where do you want to see them open? Do you want to see them open in Denver, L.A., Vegas? They're probably not going to open in Dallas. Jacksonville, Giants, Tennessee, or Buffalo. It's not a great road schedule, right? And they're the Super Bowl champs. If you want to blow it out and do it right, Sunday night in Buffalo on the opener seems logical.
Yeah, because I asked you this question too, and maybe we could ask this on the other side of the text line. Do you think they put that Chiefs-Dallas game on Thanksgiving?
No, I don't.
That's too big a teams that you don't need that big. Because what is Dallas in the Giants,
They
right?
got $38 million for that. You just roll out a game on Thanksgiving Day. I think Dallas Chiefs becomes one of those games that the networks bid on. And that's the cool thing. Like I told you during the break, I want to be in the room where these networks are like drafting their games because every game is open now. There's no more AFC, NFC package anymore. It's a free-for-all. And I would love to be in the room with the TV executives bidding on games and seeing which games they want, need, and have to have, and how many are Chiefs games, how many are Eagle games, how many are Dallas games, and Green Bay games. Those are kind of your 4 big-time teams, right? I'd like to see, kind of the bidding war that goes on. We'll give you 2 Thursday night games for, it's got to be awesome to be sitting in those meetings.
So your opening week this year in the NFL was Thursday night opener was Baltimore at Kansas City.
Right.
Friday was Green Bay, Philly. Nailed that. And then your Sunday night game was the Rams at Detroit. That's a pretty big game.
That's a big game.
And that ended in overtime, 20-28 against 2 playoff teams. And then Monday night was Jets-Niners. So we know why that game was played on Monday night.
So it kind of feels like you're going to open on Sunday night, right?
I mean, you can open up Sunday night in Buffalo. Why not?
Why not?
I mean, why not? And there's probably a Friday night international game.
I haven't seen anything about that yet. Maybe I'm sure they could just add that in at will, but that would be cool, I think. Opening on Sunday Night Football in Buffalo.
That'd be sick.
Because then you could have that pivotal game, first game of the year.
First game of the year.
Then you go back to then you get to week 16, well, if Kansas City wins, they get the tiebreaker for the number 1 seed because they beat Buffalo in week 1. Or it's vice versa, Buffalo beat Kansas City in week 1.
If you're Buffalo, do you want that game?
Yes, early and get it out of the way.
You do. Okay.
Yes.
But
everybody's healthy. Your rosters are at the best peak unless anything happens in training camp.
Because we know how Andy Reid is preparing normally with time. Obviously, the Super Bowl didn't go our way. But, normally, Andy will start preparing for Buffalo. This is how it kind of works. And I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, but if I am, I think Derek Johnson has actually said this. He goes, you're in OTAs with Andy and you're you're working on stuff and you don't realize it. Then you get to that first game, you're like, oh, we've been working on this team since May. So
that's cool.
From my standpoint, I want Buffalo. I'd take Buffalo early because they're going to be working on Buffalo for the entire offseason to get ready. Training camp's going to be all about Buffalo and getting ready for Buffalo and getting ready for Buffalo and whatnot, or whoever that first game is. So your away schedule isn't that attractive. Not a lot of great teams on there. You open in Buffalo and give Andy like 5 months to prepare for the Bills. I'd like that. I don't know if Buffalo would like that on their schedule.
I don't know. We can talk more about that because the text line's with me. I think a lot of people think Dallas and Kansas City on Thanksgiving. Why not? Why not? Coming up, there's a lot of hate and some egregious takes on who plays for the quarterback position for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll explain. Plus, we might be going back to New Orleans quicker than we thought. 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City Chiefs football.
Fescoe and Dusty. Subscribe and watch the show on YouTube by going to our channel at The Fan 965, Kansas City's FM sports station. 96.5 The Fan.
Well, you're looking outside right now and you see that snow. You don't like it. You know where else you don't like it? On your car. If you were coming back from the airport today and you had to go clean your car off before you were able to get home after a long trip, nobody wants that, right? At Park and Go, you don't have to worry about your car being covered in the snow and ice like it's outside today. Quite frankly, you don't have to worry about your car being beat on by the sun when you're gone in the summertime, because at Park and Go, every spot is covered parking, and it's so easy to make that reservation. Book parkandgo.com. Do it the minute you make your flight reservation, or use their easy-to-use app. Make sure you prepay to save money as well. Day of your flight, you show up, you give them that reservation number, they direct you right to that covered spot that they have reserved for you. And before you even get out of the car, the van's there to take you right to the airport terminal. And when you get back, like we did on Monday, that Park and Go bus is waiting for you. Grab your bags, walk off the plane, and boom, you're right back to the trunk of your car. Do what we did and join their frequent Parker program and earn points towards free parking. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. The best deals in parking. Bookparkandgo.com. Park and Go, family owned and operated.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And though I generally talk about medicine and effective treatments for erectile dysfunction and other men's sexual health issues, today I want to talk about love. Because love is the best reason to get treated for your ED. You see, ED can cause major relationship issues. In fact, men often push their partners away when ED becomes a problem. The condition can cause depression, arguments, breakups, and even contribute to divorce. But the good news is that if you're like most men suffering with ED, you can be successfully treated at Heartland Men's Health and put a stop to the relationship stresses that ED can cause. I say this with all confidence because we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Surely, it's likely you'll find you're performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and get the love back in your life. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Granger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a Honey Buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Granger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Missouri side, I-70 westbound ramp to 435 southbound, very slow right now. Kansas side, 35 northbound exit to 635 northbound is closed as police work to clear a stalled truck. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
So I said I was going to detox till Friday. It seems like a damn good day to have a couple cold beers in the afternoon. Might be a bad day to be a Miller Lite. Bob just rolling eyes goes, how do you live? I mean, what else are you going to do when you get off work at 10 o'clock in the morning?
I got a lot of ideas today.
That's Wednesday.
Oh?
Yeah. So, Rob Maloney just texted me and said he changed my name in his phone to Dusty Snow. Thanks for listening. Send me a screenshot and everything.
He sent me a text at 4:30 this morning. He goes, I left the lights on my big deck for you to follow into work today.
You don't need any light on that deck. You can see that thing at midnight.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Maloney. You think he's like a guy we constantly owe money to? Oh, man, I will say this. I know this is off the script, but, man, I had a really good time last night watching college basketball.
Did you?
And I think it's a lot of, like, post-Super Bowl fatigue. But it was nice to just, like, watch something that I didn't care about.
That's sometimes the best sports watching in the world.
Like, I watched Tennessee and Kentucky because that was the 6 o'clock game. And then I flipped over to KU Colorado for, like, the first half, and then I fell asleep. But, I mean, like, I watched, like, back and forth. Like, there was a good, like, Florida had a good game going for a little bit, then they ended up blowing out, I think, Mississippi State or whoever it was. The Tennessee-Kentucky game was great. Tonight you get Mizzou playing Oklahoma, little SEC battle, so I'll watch that game. But, like, it's kind of interesting how it's like, that's February 11th. I guess I could watch a little round ball in the college sporting world, and so I did, and I actually enjoyed it. So if I'm going to watch college basketball this year, though, it's probably going to be heavily on the SEC because that is nuts. And by the way, this weekend, if you haven't already looked, Auburn, Alabama. I know we talked about it yesterday.
They're 1 versus 2, right?
And Auburn, there's a lot of scuffle in the college basketball world that they didn't drop their ranking after a loss, but they're the best team in the best division. And Jay Billis, one of the best in the game, used to be a lawyer, went to Duke to be a lawyer.
I think he still lawyers.
Might be.
I think he still does, yeah.
And always drops a effortless rap lyric when he does like a take or whatever it is.
Yes,
it's like weird that he's
every morning he tweets something like that.
I love it.
I think he follows one person or maybe zero. It's nice to, get college basketball back. And then when we were in New Orleans, we were sitting next to Vip, and he was really happy to watch his Jayhawks. And then I was like, are you still happy they're getting pounded by Emal right now? K-State beats Kansas this past weekend. Obviously, we were in New Orleans.
Basketball with Vip in New Orleans.
When we were at, what was it, like Big Ed's or whatever it was?
We went to a place called Big Ed's.
What was that place called that we ate?
Lunch. on Saturday, right? Yeah. I think
Where
it was that.
Aussie ordered half the menu.
Oh, at that joint. Oh, yeah.
Ed's
Oh,
Oysters. I think that was it.
Mr. Ed's.
Yeah, Mr. Ed's.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
So shout out to those Wildcats there, Russolo. There's your shot.
See, I love at times watching sports that I don't have a rooting interest for.
No dog in the fight.
Like that's for the NHL for me. I'll flip on a hockey game and I'll just sit there and enjoy the hell out of it, right? And like it, not care who wins, who loses, you just there. And I flipped on the NFL Network for a little bit yesterday, and they had this show called The Insiders on. And I started watching. I'm like, I just can't anymore. So I flipped over to MLB Network, and I started watching about projected lineups for the Tigers. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing here? And then it rolled into the top 100 countdown, which I don't think they do enough promoting of their top 100. Like when the NFL has their top 100 countdown, you know it. Hell, the NFL, Roger Goodell takes a dump and everybody knows he had corn the night before. But like baseball needs to let everybody know, hey, we're doing this top 100. I had no idea they were even doing a top 100. And so I was watching a little bit last night, and Ellie De La Cruz moved up 69 spots from a year ago. I thought that was nice. But even still, there's not 30 baseball players better than Ellie De La Cruz. So, yeah, this is the time of the year where you can kind of catch up on sports, maybe just whatever. It's just on in the background, and it's okay to relax and kind of
I was tuned in, though.
decompose.
I was watching. Like, you got to get ready for that, March Madness bracket.
Why? Because Sally in sales always wins, and she's like me, never watches a college basketball game.
Well,
I think you have more success when you don't overanalyze, right?
There you go. Then that's your strategy.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take 4 SEC teams to the Final Four and one of them to win because it's the best conference in college basketball. It's disgusting. Like Jay Billis said, whoever wins the SEC tournament should be technically the winner of March Madness because that's how tough that conference is. It's nuts.
And some school like you never heard of be there at the end,
of course,
right? Because that's the way it always works, right?
Yeah, because you play 30 games in a season to play a one-and-done tournament.
I know.
It's awesome.
It's kind of like the NFL. Like, I don't know why people get, like, the NCAA tournament, you play all year and it's one and done. I'm like, yeah, so is the NFL. And, I know NBA and hockey and basketball, or, baseball are all, series, whatnot. I like the one-and-done aspect of that thing. It puts the onus on you to go out there and play your best. And if you don't, you don't. You move on, right?
That's right. I love these people. Miller Lite, so you're drinking water? Yep. 96 calories and gets the job done, baby. Ain't done. So, I don't know. But speaking of getting the job done and always has gotten the job done, it's kind of interesting how yesterday we saw a bunch of, like, headlines on First Take and whatever else it says. And, and what we saw is, did the Super Bowl give you any indication that Mahomes is taking a step back?
Yeah.
Or what will we see from Patrick Mahomes? He'll be 30 years old next year. That's it. He'll be 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to play for another 10 years. What we normally see in the NFL, which Patrick Mahomes is not normal for the NFL, we all know that, is that about the time he turned 30 years old, the motions and the rhythm in the game really kind of just becomes secondary, right? There's a great book. I don't know what it's called, but the narrative is once you do 10,000 hours of something, you have mastered that craft.
Okay.
Right? And the thing that's great about Mahomes is that everyone's going to be like, well, maybe he took a step back. Maybe he's, shocked from this loss. The text line says this one seems different than Tampa. This seems like it's going to affect him maybe more in the offseason moving forward. I don't buy that to be true. I think the way that Patrick Mahomes plays this game, as if Eric Bieniemy is still in my head saying it as a competitive prick, I think sometimes these types of losses can be best in the case of moving forward. Whereas you win a three-peat, we could all sit here the next day and be like, well, what else does he have to play for? Like, there's not that hunger, that drive. You get absolutely rod slapped in a Super Bowl like they did against the Philadelphia Eagles. You don't want that to happen again. You eventually get back to reading tabloids that you didn't see, or you read messages from people that they sent you. Did you see this, what they said about you? And then you see that and you're like, just they wait. And I understand that game was tough for him because he won the three-peat in front of Brady, make history, solidify yourself as the greatest dynasty of all time, and now your roster is going to turn over and it's going to be a different place. But again, it's crazy to think that he's only 30, where quarterbacks really start to hit their stretch, and I'll bring some numbers up here in a second, but like, what if he does become a new, better version of himself than the guy that is I've got to go be Superman every once in a while. I've got to make scrambling plays, to where, like, he is Justin Verlander with the curveball.
Yeah, and that's kind of where he needs. That's kind of like the next step in his game is to not get like he has to make the play every single time because he doesn't. There's 10 other guys out there. But you get into that mindset at times during games when things aren't going right for you. And we don't see that happen often. I think all the nonsense that was talked about yesterday and the day before, with Mahomes, is this the end of the line? Have we seen the best? And all this kind of crap. It's easy to roll that out there and to have those conversations about. But it's also because we've never seen this before. Like, we've seen really, honest to God, Patrick Mahomes truly, from a national standpoint, suffer one bad loss, right? That was it, one bad loss, and that was that Super Bowl that we saw to Tampa Bay some years ago. So people aren't sure how to respond when Patrick Mahomes has a bad game and they have a bad loss because it's so unique and different. In Patrick Mahomes' career, the Chiefs only have 4 17-plus point losses with him as their quarterback. 2 of them were in the Super Bowl. 2 of them were on the big stage. And so it's easy, it's lazy, it's simple for these TV stations to roll that ball out because it gets people talking, it's conversation, and all that kind of stuff. But acting like because a guy had one bad game, in a big moment, but one bad game, that he's never going to reach new heights, no pun intended, is absolutely ridiculous. Because I saw this tweet on Monday, and I'm going to continue to go back to this tweet, and it's a headline from February 9th, 2011. Right after the Patriots lost to the Giants. Tom Brady, 10 reasons he'll never be comparable to Joe Montana. So they were throwing the dirt on Tom Brady's grave when he lost to the Giants for the second time in that Super Bowl in that 10-year stretch where they didn't win one. And what did Tom Brady do? He went on to win 7 Super Bowls and with a new team and become the greatest quarterback of all time, right? Severely passing Joe Montana. So I feel like we're in that realm right now with Patrick Mahomes where, he's never going to catch Tom Brady, even though we were saying, or they people were saying, 15 years ago, 14 years ago, that Tom Brady will never be comparable to Joe Montana, then gave 10 reasons why, and then Tom Brady crumbled that up and took off and surpassed Joe Montana in a major way.
Yeah, and you go back to the number age of 30. When Tom Brady turned 30, he went 16-0, 4,800 yards, 50 touchdowns. That was year 30?
That
was the 2007 season.
So Patrick Mahomes is going to be 30 this year.
That's right.
You want to top Tom Brady?
And they went and got Randy Moss.
Yeah.
And set the world on fire. Peyton Manning, when he turned 30, threw for 4,397 yards, 31 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Peyton Manning would not throw less than 4,000 yards the rest of his career until his final year where he fell apart.
Yeah, he fell apart. His neck fell off.
After 30, it was 4,000, 4,000, 4,000, 45, 47, 46, 54, 47. That was Peyton Manning 30 and on. Brett Favre, you might ask about him. He would throw for 4,000 yards 4 times after turning 30 and only did it twice previously. So, again, like the number 30 for the quarterback is different than the number 30 for running back, defensive end, wide receiver.
Yeah.
So, like, the best is yet to come historically for the position at quarterback. So to say that Mahomes may take a step back or may not be the same that he may not be the same, but that may not be a negative take on Patrick Mahomes. He may not be the same guy that was running around trying, because we saw a few of those plays in the Super Bowl where he tried to go one way, come back another way, go back this way, then throw it. And maybe that game won't be there anymore, because maybe now what they're going to do is finally get to the point where they're like, we're going to build a brick wall. And you are going to be that 3-step, 4-step drop, and we're going to get you speed on the outside, which we already have, and Xavier Worthy, and a little bit of that, and Rashee Rice over the middle. And you're just gonna pick apart people. You're no longer going to have to worry about running to the outside and throwing. We're going to play, an offensive style where we're going to get you a dynamic running back that can handle the screens, do that sort of stuff, where it won't maybe be the Mahomes that runs outside. Again, he's still 30, he's still super athletic.
But they're going to need to get that offensive line fixed before they can do anything.
And that's why
right?
that might change. They might be like, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to solidify a wall in front of you to where now you just sit back and you have 3 to 3.5, 4 seconds. Not 4, that's a lot. But you have 3 to 3.5 seconds to basically just scam a defense of what you want to do and get somebody wide open. Or maybe what Bigley said he wants to see. Give him just a little bit more time and start releasing that deep bomb and see that sort of Mahomes come back.
Right.
But again, it's okay if he's a different style quarterback. It's okay if he changes, but the step back mentality or the will he be the same, that sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm asking this question out loud because I don't know the answer. why are people so quick to bury Patrick Mahomes? Is it just the day and age in which we live?
He was terrible. It's easy.
But they wanted to do it beforehand, like a week ago when I was saying I think he becomes the greatest ever. Everybody's like, I don't know about that. It feels like there's more pushback against Patrick Mahomes than we saw against Tom Brady. And I do believe a lot of it has to do with the times in which we live and with social media being more prevalent now than it was in 2011 and, all the nonsense on TV that we see with these debate shows that are absolute trash. And so I guess I feel like people just can't wait to watch Patrick Mahomes fail, where we celebrated Tom Brady, we celebrated Brett Favre, we celebrated all these guys and rooted for these guys. And Patrick Mahomes literally has done nothing wrong. He's been nothing but a great human being since he came here, and people are ready to just kind of move on and find the next. He's not boring. He plays great football. He's won a lot, and everybody just wants to kind of like say this is over for Patrick Mahomes, and it's just the beginning. And I think all this, from what we've seen, the proof has been out there before. When stuff gets like this, it motivates Patrick Mahomes. And like I said yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if he's already back at Arrowhead trying to get ready for next season because of that bad taste that's been in his mouth. I think this team has a better chance to win the Super Bowl next year than they would have had they three-peated, right? Because they three-peated, all right, you get a little fat and happy. It's going to happen after 3 straight Super Bowls. But now they've got that hunger back. It's burning again for them.
Yeah, I mean, you just want to prove everybody wrong. I think that's one thing that's always been kind of Mahomes' thing. Like, watch Mahomes come back with like a 6-pack and a different haircut.
Yeah.
And everybody be like, oh, no. Like, what do we do to this guy? And that's not saying that he has to, but like, that's the sort of thing that like I could definitely see like, okay, like I took a step back. Okay, you're going to use one big blowout loss in the Super Bowl to say that I can't do anymore. And, that because you remember Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, they were the team that could finally beat the Chiefs and they would never be stopped again. Since that, Chiefs haven't lost to the Bengals.
Right.
Chiefs won 2 straight Super Bowls and went for a 3-peat. Now they've gotten obliterated and embarrassed in a Super Bowl game, and now people have these wild, outlandish takes that we'll never see the best of Mahomes again. What we saw was in the past, and now moving forward, it'll just be a quarterback that's now playing down to everybody else. I don't buy any of that. I don't believe any of that to be true, and I do think that you will see some sort of like aggravated, different side of Mahomes this year, where it's just like eventually you will see the shrugs come back, the counting come back,
all that petty stuff we liked. Yeah, that'd
you
be
might
fun.
see that come back, but you also might see like to say that I would be confident they could win a Super Bowl. I don't know about that, but I would be confident to say that Mahomes could win MVP next year, and then I'd be almost willing to put money down on that because it's like, okay, Josh has his, Lamar won 2 in a row, Burrow's coming back this year. We'll see if he can stay healthy. Trending wise, that doesn't add up. But like now everyone thinks I took a step back. Everyone thinks I'm not this guy anymore. And we're going to reload this roster and change the face of where this team is going moving forward because there's new parts, younger parts, and parts that are old that we no longer need. Yet I'm still here. And you don't think that I'm that guy? Oh, just you wait.
Yeah.
Just you wait. Let that sink in to Mahomes' brain where we know that pettiness can come out. Plus you add age and experience to all that.
Wisdom.
Yeah, I would love to see that side of Mahomes.
And I'll be honest with you, from the wisdom side of things, like now may be the best time to bet your future bet for the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl when the odds are where they are right now, right? Because I think it's only going to get smaller and smaller as they start to have the roster overhaul. And I do think it's going to be a pretty sizable roster overhaul this offseason. And it kind of needs to be. We're at that time now where it's time to, all right, assess some things. We lost. We got our ass kicked. Let's recorrect and change things up. And I don't have a problem with that.
Would you put more money on the fact that Mahomes gets to another Super Bowl and wins it, or the fact that Jalen Hurts just gets to a Super Bowl?
Say that again?
Would you put more money on the fact that Mahomes will win another Super Bowl?
Right.
Or the fact that Jalen Hurts can get to another Super Bowl?
Mahomes win a Super Bowl.
And that's substantially tougher
harder
odds
to
get than
Yeah,
that.
of course
And that's
it
coming
is,
off the Super Bowl MVP, best season.
And I like Jalen Hurts. I'm an apologist for Jalen now. He's kind of become my new Lamar, right? I like Jalen Hurts a lot. But no, I'll never bet against Patrick Mahomes. I think, that's a fool's bet, right? Like if you bet against Patrick Mahomes, that's just a fool's bet at this point in time.
And I think that's where we're at on this text is why we are consistently trying to figure out when or how Pat is going to pass Brady. Why can't we just sit back and enjoy the greatness that we have, that we are witnessing? I think that's one of the positives that came out of a very bad loss in the Super Bowl. Is like, now that conversation is over.
Right.
Now that conversation is, all right, let's just see what Mahomes can do the rest of his career. And when he gets to the age of like 37, 38, 39, then you can have the conversation like, well, where's he at compared to like Brady's passing yards, touchdowns, playoff wins? titles then. But from the age of 30 to 36, these next 6 years, I think these are the sit back and watch Patrick years of like, okay, how's he going to solidify his run as the greatest of this, last 10 to 15 years of football?
It's going to be interesting to see, how he comes back. And I think that is a good point to now you can kind of just sit back and not get caught up in the minutia. Because I know I found myself there as well. It was all about, okay, we've come this far, three-peat past Brady, three-peat past Brady. Well, he's not passing Brady at this point in time, right? He only has the 3 championships now and no three-peat of which to speak. So now he has to either, three-peat or get 4 more or whatever the deal is to get to that Tom Brady level. And that's going to be a while now. So I do think it's now time to just sit back and enjoy everything that's been going on.
Apparently, somebody has some inside information from the trip. Speaking of the Super Bowl, word on the street is that Dusty wanted to take an Uber from his hotel to the stadium in New Orleans.
Oh, who texted that in?
From the 314. Dustman, stadium was half a mile away. Just walk, defend yourself.
314. That's St. Louis. Who would have that information?
Damn, insider. We got Schefter on the text line.
That's interesting because there's nobody from the 314 that I know that was there that day.
Very interesting.
Did Roxanne call in yet, our boss? Because she was livid at you guys for trying to take an Uber in traffic.
She was scary.
I mean, she's like, "What are you?" Come on,
infuriated.
Come on, well, you're taking an Uber 0.8 of a mile. You're in your 20s and 30s. Get your ass walking when all the streets are closed. The 314. That's an interesting one right there.
Mm-hmm.
My legs were tired.
I didn't.
Yeah, you are a whiner. I'll be honest with you. A couple of times I felt like I was with my kids when I was with him. He said to me, and I don't know if you heard this, could we just take an Uber? I'm tired.
Yeah, I did. I did ask that one day. Yes, I did.
I'm 47 and overweight. It's just fine walking. He did. He said to me, I'm tired. I'm like, oh, God, this is like family vacation all over again here.
Somebody says, I'm done with comparing Patrick Mahomes to anyone. Just appreciate his game.
Yeah, let's do that, man. That's good. That's healthy.
The other thing, too, is unfortunately you live in a time where comps are everywhere.
Everywhere. That's all it is.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, Xavier Worthy is already getting comped to Tyreek Hill.
Right.
Like, it's already there. Like, it's going to be the rest of Xavier Worthy's tenured in Kansas City will be like, well, can he be Tyreek Hill? No. I mean, I guess.
But comps have been around in sports forever, Right. They've been doing it in baseball for 100 years and whatnot. But, yeah, I mean, sometimes we just always want to compare who's going to be the next this or the next that and say, why can't we just enjoy Patrick Mahomes for Patrick Mahomes? Like, I hope nobody's comparing Bobby Witt to anybody at this point in time. Like, he's not the next Alcides Escobar.
What? No.
Like, we're not comparing him to anybody, right? He's not the next A-Rod or anything like that. We're letting Bobby be Bobby. Patrick can write his own script now.
I don't really know if there is a comp for Bobby.
That's what I'm thinking off the top of my head. I don't know that there is.
I mean, you could say George, but George didn't steal. George wasn't fast. Like, George was solid hitter and defender. I wasn't even that great of it. He was a good defender. It wasn't great, but he was a good defender. He was better at first, I think. I don't know. But we can get to that discussion at a later time. But some things you're just not allowed to do when somebody else takes over. We talk about that again on the other side here on Fescoe and Dusty with our producer, Mac Morey, as well. On 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City Sports.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty.
I just want to say how awesome it is to have Bob Fescoe and Legend Likens on every morning to start my day. I freaking love you guys.
On your home for Kansas City sports, 96.5 The Fan.
Hey guys, it's Dusty Likens of 96.5 The Fan. Let me tell you about my friends over at GiveMeTheVin.com. They want to buy your car, whether it's your daily driver, pickup truck, SUV, minivan, supercar, or an exotic. GiveMeTheVin.com wants you to say goodbye to dealing with the dealerships and private sale tire kickers and get a true buy offer for your car. GiveMeTheVin.com puts your car right on the money, providing you with a hassle-free online option to sell your car for more. It's as simple as going to GiveMeTheVin.com and entering your car's VIN number or license plate number. You'll get an offer on your car in minutes that is always well above any dealer quote and is guaranteed to beat your written CarMax offer, or they'll send you a check for $100. You can go to one of our offices locations, or they'll come to you. It's easy and it's fast. In fact, it's so easy, you can do it in your underwear. Literally. GiveMeTheVin.com is America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
It starts as a nuisance and you just put up with it, but then that awful joint pain impacts everything in your life. Walking, climbing stairs, even getting in and out of the car hurts. Hey, it's Bob Fescoe. I'm talking about that always there joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back. But here's the good news. QC Kinetics. Groundbreaking treatments for arthritis pain. Long-term relief is now possible with no downtime. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients would tell you, don't wait, make the call today. These new orthobiologic cellular therapies, including PRP treatments, can revitalize your joints without going under the knife. Look, joint pain doesn't get better with time, so before it's absolutely debilitating, see if you're a candidate for these life-changing regenerative treatments. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
Winter is more than half over, and things are looking up. But before we start thinking about spring lawn care, I'd like to ask you to look up at your trees. This is Larry Ryan at Ryan Lawn and Tree. And right now, before the leaves fill in, is a great time to find and take care of old storm damage, remove dead branches, and carefully prune trees for better growth and storm resilience. Now is also when you can save 15% with our winter rates. Our team of master pruners and certified arborists is unmatched in both skill and care. And at Ryan Lawn and Tree, they're also employee owners. You're not just a customer, you're their customer. I think you'll be impressed with the difference that makes. So will your valuable trees. Take advantage of our winter rates and enjoy 15% off all tree services when you book before March 1st. Call today or book online at ryanlawn.com/tree.
Spring forward with real unlimited data from Straight Talk this tax season and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. So you can stream games during Mad March hours, check the weather for April showers, and watch gardening videos about May flowers. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 4/15/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires purchase of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
A great lawn is like a great sports team. It takes expertise and a little extra care to really stand out. That's where True Green comes in. They're the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour, so they know a thing or two about keeping grass looking like a fairway. Here's the best part. It's more affordable than you think, and they'll even match any competitor's price. Plus, True Green backs it all up with a satisfaction guarantee. Not happy? They'll come back between visits to make it right. Don't wait. Head to truegreen.com today. Let the pros do the work while you sit back and enjoy the results.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Granger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Brought to you by the National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic at the KC Convention Center March 7th through the 9th. Northland 35 southbound, slow rolling from Antioch down towards the merge with I-29 with an accident blocking the left lane. Pheasants Forever National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic is coming to the Kansas City Convention Center this March 7th through 9. Join us for puppy and dog training seminars, a youth village for kids, and more than 400 unique exhibitors. More information at pheasantfest.org. Alan Korn, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
I mean, there's an insider in Nollins that knows more about this trip than we think.
Write down the number, would you please? Because I got an app on my phone where I can look up numbers.
Okay. Because it said originally, speaking of the Super Bowl, Dusty, you try to get an Uber. Inside sources, you try to get an Uber from the hotel to the stadium, and it was 0.8 miles away. Just walk and defend yourself. And then the next response that came in was from the same number, from the 314, did the free food at the tailgate pick you up a bit at least? How do they know that we were at one of those tailgates?
How do they know? Because we didn't really talk about going to the tailgate before the game because the game was the game, and then that was a distant memory. You got to see Post Malone perform.
Well, kind of.
Well, yeah, you and I left a little bit early.
Yeah, we saw 2 songs.
But Max stayed for the whole thing, right?
Yeah, he was awesome. He sounded great.
Dope.
Name's Austin Richard Post. No, it's not.
It's Post Malone.
It's Post Malone.
And then before he sang, I need some help, he said, this song's about the Chiefs and the referees. Thanks, Post.
And then declared the Cowboys should be there.
Yes, exactly.
Well, yeah.
I know, but even still, like, I don't care how big a Cowboy fan you are.
Well,
like,
maybe he's bought into Dak Prescott's comment that they're very close to their championship. Living on love, buying on time. Yeah.
The Dallas Cowboys. What a clown show that
That's how they roll. Man, we really lit a fire in Binkley's ass with this 30-year-old.
Oh, my God. Binkley's been texting all morning about it. He goes, you remember that game where it was on to Cincinnati?
Oh, yeah.
He was 36 years old that day, Tom Brady. They went on to go to 5 more Super Bowls, and he won 4.
Do you think at one point during the Super Bowl this year, Binkley crushed up a beer can and threw it at the TV? He's like, yeah, I'm done with this blank. I feel like that game, did you find out who it is?
I don't know who that is.
I don't know. You found out who it is? That's crazy. You have that app on your phone.
Tim?
Yeah, that's weird.
Okay. That is weird that you have that.
Hey, man.
Yeah, I didn't know that existed.
Hey, man.
Tell you.
Hey, man, let me tell you.
It's a great app to have. How many times do you see a number show up on your phone, you don't know who it is,
I
right?
just don't know how that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how they can do that.
Yeah.
Can you type in my number?
Yeah, I was going to say,
come up as my
exactly.
name?
Yeah. That's what I want to see. Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Great radio.
It is good radio.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are like, oh, yeah, there's an app for that?
Well,
Yeah.
the text lines would be full. What's the app?
It's called reverse lookup. Type in your phone number.
Type in my phone number here? I mean, luckily we are on the camera, so like you can see that I'm doing this.
And it tells you if that phone number is safe or, if there's like, spamware or stuff like that. Yeah.
100% safe. Dusty Likens, Kansas City.
Whoa. Whoa.
All right.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, there it is.
You're busted, 314.
Reverse lookup. Okay.
Yep.
Bob did share that app.
I can just share the app, right? Yep. There you go.
Fun fact about Post Malone, he was almost in a metal band called Crown the Empire.
Really?
I didn't know that. I know that he's like very good at singing different genres of music.
Well, dude, yeah, after you guys left, like there were a couple moments where he would just like scream, like in a screamo way, and I was like, dude, he could do that.
I'm so glad I left.
It was awesome.
We had the speaker out on the rooftop at Max. Like, have you ever heard "Scream to Dreams"? And I was like, no.
That's not what I said.
And it was like this like screamo music. I was like, can we go back to like Lord Huron and like 1975? And that's he said, well, let's play one more. It's called Wrists and Ankles, and it was like another screamo band. I don't know, dude. He's into some weird stuff, man. Let me tell you about Hook Right Z Banana, man. 8 minutes and 20 seconds on my YouTube video. You can see these clowns meeting me, John Gruden. But again, speaking of John Gruden, does TV now, does that stuff with Barstool. Pat McAfee, who we saw his setup and everything, fun to watch him live. But it's over for Aaron Rodgers in New York. But it may not be over for Aaron Rodgers and Pat McAfee.
Depending on where he goes.
Which I bring that up because we talked about it earlier. Like, if you go to another team and you're like, all right, so what are your musts and that you want to go by? It's like, well, I don't want to do, early season training camp. That's I'm a veteran. I don't need to do that.
You do. You're a new quarterback on this team, so that's option number one.
Right. And then it's, I do this hit every Tuesday on Pat McAfee's show.
Probably not going to let you do that.
Then, Aaron Rodgers probably trying to hang it up.
Yeah, it probably is.
If nobody
right?
wants you to do what you're doing because you don't have the track record of late to prove that it works, then maybe you have to change yourself. And we all know we're wasting our breath thinking that he's going to do that.
Oh, God, he's the most narcissistic human being on earth. And so if you want to continue to play in the look, if a team signs Aaron Rodgers, I'll question whether or not that team really does want to win and what they're trying to do.
So what would be your opinion if Pete Carroll does it in Vegas, who you thought was the best hire out of anybody?
Yeah.
What if he went and got Rodgers?
I would have more faith in it because I've seen Pete Carroll in the NFL coach before, but I still wouldn't be a fan of it because you're trying to establish a culture there in Las Vegas where Aaron Rodgers, as we've seen the last 2 years, has really ruined an organization by being who he is. And that's just a jerk. I mean, like, doing whatever it is that you want to do. And if I'm Pete Carroll, I would sit Aaron Rodgers down and say, I need you at OTAs. I'll concede the Pat McAfee thing if you're going to be here from day one at OTAs and all of that kind of stuff. But if you don't plan to be here for OTAs, I'm not conceding Pat McAfee, and quite honestly, I don't want you here because I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is the guy that you truly want leading an organization that needs direction.
There's just not a lot of compromise in Aaron Rodgers. Compromise. Yeah. Right. Like how canal can be spelled differently.
Right.
So that's actually a true story of compromise because I was dating this girl and she had a student. She's like, she spelled out compromise. She goes, but isn't it pronounced compromise? And it's like, well, not really. But
I mean, that's why English is the hardest language
tough,
to learn. Right? Yeah.
To, you're there.
You,
but
and
it doesn't
you.
sound like there's a lot of compromise in Aaron Rodgers.
No.
And you would think that, like, when you get to the status that he is, that veteran, like, I'm sure, and I know they're different, points in their lives at the time, but I'm sure when, like, Brady went to Tampa, he's like, here's the deal. And no matter what he said, they're like, yep, okay. So you'll sign? Yeah, sure. Whereas, like, it's the opposite for Aaron Rodgers, where it's like, well, I want this. It's like, yeah, well.
Brady has a good track record. Aaron Rodgers doesn't.
Exactly.
Aaron Rodgers' track record, I hate to be honest with you, sucks.
Like, he ruined what he wanted by doing what he did.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, you're exactly right. Like, his situation in the Jets was a disaster. I mean, that was a bad 2 years. You blew out your Achilles, and then you were just you were terrible. And that was
a franchise.
You did. You cost how many people jobs? I mean,
at least 6.
I mean, that Nate Hackett guy probably will never coach in the NFL again.
And now Devontae Adams is stuck in New York.
And now Devontae Adams wants. Would you pick Devontae Adams up here? Would you make a
100%?
Yeah, right. I would too.
Not even thought.
Yeah,
Like,
right. But that's the problem. Like the teams that need a quarterback, I don't think you want Aaron Rodgers. Like you have young guys in this league. Your quarterback needs to be a direct connection from your head coach, doing what the head coach wants, being like Patrick Mahomes. You bring in Aaron Rodgers, he's playing by different rules, and that just sends a bad message to everybody in the organization. So your Pete Carroll thing, like, I mean, I could see it with Pete, but I still wouldn't do it if I was Pete Carroll. Aaron Rodgers is not an organizational guy that builds you up. He's a guy that breaks you down. It's 52 plus 1, and that doesn't equal a championship, especially when that one is your quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a tough guy to like, and a lot of people need to like your quarterback.
Or they at least need to respect your quarterback. Like, how would you feel if you worked with a group of people and everybody was at work every day, but this one guy just decided not to show up because it was voluntary and never showed up to anything, and then showed up on game day and wanted to be the star and wanted to be the center of attention? Like, that's Aaron Rodgers. These guys are going to be busting it in May, and if you're going to a new organization, you got to learn the new system, the new coach, and all the new players, and you're not going to be there for OTAs? Pound sand, man.
No doubt about it. There's a reason why we have the Twitter question that we will ask again on the top of the hour coming up of baseball or football, because these teams really get each other and they get us. And that's very important in this town that we love so much called Kansas City. And you are listening to 96.5 The Fan, your home of those Kansas City sports.
Fescoe and Dusty.
913-586-7965. Call in right now and tell me how much I suck.
On Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan.
Well, if you're waking up this morning with some aches and pains, it's probably not just from going out there and shoveling. You probably are starting to have that arthritis pain build up, and then it's impacting everything in your life, right? Maybe you can't even go out there and clear your driveway today, or maybe you can't even just walk up the stairs, or just getting out of the car hurts. But we've got something that can help you out with that always there joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, and back. The good news is QC Kinetics, groundbreaking treatments for arthritis pain. Long-term relief is now possible. At QC Kinetics, their regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients would tell you, don't wait, make the call today and talk to the local medical professionals. And these are new orthobiologic cellular therapies, including PRP treatments that can revitalize your joints without going under the knife. QC Kinetics treatments prompt your body to heal and restore those damaged joints, and you won't miss a beat because there's no downtime. So call QC Kinetics today for that free consultation. 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
Booth Creek Wagyu, KC's premier Wagyu beef meat market, has even more convenient ways for you to shop. In addition to their location at 135th and Metcalf, they're now open at 95th and Knoll. Everyone deserves to elevate their beef. Whether you're looking to wow your family with a meal they'll never forget or impress your friends, neighbors, and coworkers, their Wagyu experts are ready to help you pick out something unforgettable. Booth Creek Wagyu, now with 2 locations, open 7 days a week, or at boothcreekwagyu.com.
Hello, I am fabulous.
Oh, you mean like Kansas Lottery's Fabulous Fortune Instant Ticket Fabulous?
I mean, like I speak 5 languages and come from old money fabulous.
Oh, well, Fabulous Fortune can lay some new money on you. 4 chances at $500,000 to be exact.
Talk more.
Fabulous Fortune also gives you a second chance at $500,000 with the Play On app.
I think I've been out fabulous.
Really?
No.
Okay, play Fabulous Fortune. CKSLottery.com for details.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
If winter weather means you're spending more time indoors, why not make your space more inviting? Well, Macy's is here for you. Our President's Day sale is going on right now with big savings on what you need to refresh your entire home. 20 to 60% off, up to 60% off new furniture, up to 60% off a new mattress, and up to 60% off a new comforter for that mattress. Whether your style is rustic, classic, or modern, come into Macy's today and back to a house that feels more like home. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter? Right? And the best part? They accept Discover. Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer. Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times. Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants? These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
This report is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts, your professional parts people.
Buy 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic Motor Oil and get a $15 gift card after rebate, plus 2 times points at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Missouri side, 470 westbound, heavy, off again, on again from Pryor out past View High Drive. Heading 49 southbound, things are slow from before Harry S. Truman and stay heavy down past Main Street. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Hang out with Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Audacy Sports Station.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. Well, hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
It is a Wednesday, which means the Fescoe and Dusty poll question has reached the X platform. Today's poll question is, what do you want to hear more of on the air right now? Royals baseball, Chiefs football. According to my logistics, there are 405 votes that have been placed this morning, 80% of which say Royals baseball. Sorry, Mac.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all. And I'm actually right there with them. That'd be my vote as well.
I think my answer is whatever's happening at this point in time I want to talk about, right? The Royals are doing something. The Chiefs are, obviously, that's what it is. Like, if all of a sudden today the Chiefs, which they're not, obviously, because you can't, But if they made this huge trade, everybody would be wanting. Why are you talking about the? Well, you just said you wanted to hear about the 80%, right? So yeah, it just all depends on. Oh my God, look at that semi sideways on the highway, Dusty. Holy cow! I hope that's on your way home.
I don't know where that is. They're not really telling us.
Yeah, they don't. Memo to TV stations. A lot of people aren't watching with the sound. Put up a graphic and tell us where you are. But yeah, it just depends on what happens. The Royals made a decent move yesterday, bringing Ned back into the fold. People are excited about that. You want to hear, hey, what's Ned going to do? How's Ned going to be part of this thing, right? The Chiefs go out tomorrow and trade Patrick Mahomes. You're like, oh, my God, we got to talk about it. So I think, you base it on what's going on. But I know where people are right now. Look, everybody as a sports fan has had those moments where your team loses and you just don't want to talk about it for a while. You want to flush it out of the system. But I ran into a lot of people yesterday who were still wanting to talk about the game and what happened and what went wrong. And a lot of people are really concerned about what's going to happen in the future, too. So I think that has people excited.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you look at the season in the way that these teams are so great at what they do is that we talked about this a little bit earlier, is that the Chiefs seemingly get you all the way until March every year. Like, I mean, it's already February 12th, right? Like, February is over in like 12 days. There's only 28 in this daddy of a month. And then it's all of a sudden March.
Right.
And then by the time March gets here, now with baseball, you're 3 weeks away from opening day. Like, March is like, what, the 25th?
March 26th, I think the opening
is like the 25th
year,
or the 26th for the Royals. And, blink and it's here. I mean, we're almost a month away.
Remember when I told you at Halloween the holidays are going to be here before you know it? You laughed at me and rolled your eyes, and now we're at Valentine's Day.
Yes. Right. And then Galentine's Day is coming up tomorrow.
Right.
When's Valentine's Day?
That's yesterday. Tomorrow's actually National Tortellini Day, Jay Binkley told me, too. So.
Really? I love tortellini. You can get tortellini Friday night.
Yeah,
I will.
But, and you got a very important document to drop off on Friday.
You better not lose that.
Seriously. Like
I'm sending you to Jasper with something very important in hand. If you lose that.
That took a lot of drunken stones for me to bring up at the dinner and imitate my, threat to this guy that I'd never met. I was like, Jasper said that I had one job, and I nailed it.
You did.
But anyways, but the fact that these teams always seem to kind of transition us at not always the Royals, but last year was like the first year I think that the Royals made the offseason for football short. Football always makes the baseball season short, but then it's like, can you just get us to June? Like, can you just make baseball fun till June? And I know that people want to complain about like how they can watch the games. You can always hear the games here on 96.5.
You see what the Indians are doing this year? $99 you can stream their games all year. That's
and then
great.
People are like, well, $20 have the thing. That's the same way the Royals are doing the same thing.
But that's why I asked if
the Royals are doing the exact same thing.
They are the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You can buy the stream for But that's why I ask you: are people like? Are we over the whole streaming thing now? Is it just become secondary nature?
I think you'll always have people that say no. They should be able to just turn their TV on, put it to a channel, and it just comes on.
Yeah, but it doesn't work that way anymore.
Unfortunately, evolution in TV has changed a lot. Like, we used to be able to go home, and before you could even find out what was on TV, you had to read a paper magazine that said TV Guide.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Like, you had to know it's Wednesday. Okay. And every Thursday, you got a new TV guide. That was the next week that had a TV cover on it from a show, whether it's Jerry Seinfeld or if it was a Nickelodeon cover. But that's how you found out. And then the guide happened, and you're like,
the on-screen guide.
Yeah,
then you had to wait for it to cycle through,
And then it just became a thing like everything else. So that goes back to the streaming thing.
Because the on-screen guide, for those who don't know, used to be an actual channel on your TV.
Yeah, it's a TV guide channel.
And if you missed channel 2 and they were on channel 4, you're like, oh, I got to sit through all of these again.
788, 789. It stops to 801. And you know that 740 to 760 is hot hits now, Latino music, rap hits of the 90s.
I don't need this on the on-screen guide. Tell me what's on channel 2.
And but no, like the Royals got you to the bye week of the NFL season more than I think everybody always thought. Like last year, my theme of the Royals, I'll come up with a new one this year, was the cruise ship. Like, how long does the party last? And how long does this go? It went all the way into the AL division series against the Yankees. Which
could have asked for anything more last year.
Right. I mean, which then led right into, that's the Chiefs bye week. All right, next week it's San Francisco. Here we go. Which it was, week 7. Week 6 was their bye week this year. Now, the Royals do have expectations this year, which is different than last year.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's not, can you get us to July in St. Joe? can you get us back to the playoffs? And I think that is a legitimate question. And can you be a team that is legit at the top of your division again this year like you were last year? I mean, at one point, they were, a game behind Cleveland?
Didn't they tie him at the end of August?
Like,
there was that series in Cleveland, and they tied Cleveland at the end of August. Because I remember being at the J and listening to the game. It was a day game, and they won. And I think we tied them for first.
And that lasted for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, and then the next day. But still, at the end of August, the Royals were in first place last year, right? I think expectation this year for the Royals is if they don't make it to the playoffs this year, then it was a failed season. And that's a good thing to say. That's not a bad thing to say at all.
And that's why I think, like before this, I was saying last night, I watched college basketball for the first time really diligently was paying attention to the game, following numbers, going to my Score mobile app, looking up things, having bets on the games last night, which I've got one on Mizzou already, but that's here nor there. But it's it made me enjoy it because it's it's a new scent in the car. Okay, I've been driving around with new car smell for a while. That's done. Let's put in black ice, which is a great flavor. And all of a sudden, I kind of like driving this car now. It's different. It feels different. Now I'm watching college basketball, and I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is SEC action. Tonight, Mizzou plays Oklahoma. 2 SEC teams. Mizzou's ranked 21st. Oklahoma's not. But there's 2 games that separate them in the standings. Should be a decent game. I'm going to watch it to see if Mizzou can cover the 9.5, plus other stuff. But, it's good to have something different, but for a short while. Spring training is fun when it starts, but by about the 3rd or 2nd game, you're like, all right, can we just get to baseball?
I'm completely, I could just sit there all day. Right? Some are sicker than others. You watch college basketball, I won't touch it, but I'll watch spring training baseball with every ounce of. I think because a lot of it has to do because you look outside today and you see the weather, and then you see a spring training game and it's sunny.
Yeah, but you're
nice
a fortunate one. You'll be there, so that's different.
No, I'm talking about I will watch it on TV.
Oh, that's bizarre.
No. I'm not talking about being there. I'm talking about watching it on TV. MLB Network, ESPN, anybody streaming. If there's a spring training baseball game on and that game is on and I don't care who's playing in these.
That's
things.
Making fun of Mac for watching the All 22.
Correct. Yeah, it's some are sicker than others.
I get all this crap for these guys watching spring baseball.
I was gonna say that's
Come on,
all
man.
20. That's all 100.
Hey, that's great, and that's great for you.
Yeah,
you like that?
Right.
Just
but
I want to watch all 22.
But I'm not bringing it to the table because I know nobody else is watching all of this, right?
It's I could dive into the Genesis tournament this weekend. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares, right? People care about 2 things ultimately as a collective group, the Chiefs and the Royals, and everything else is your little fiefdom. If you're a KU fan, you care about KU. K-State fan, care about K-State. Missouri fan, Missouri. That's how that works. Hockey fans kind of talk amongst themselves in the back of the room and, that kind of thing. But like what people care about in this town on a daily basis, they wake up as a sports fan going Royals, Chiefs, Chiefs, depending on what, season that we're in or what's going on. And now we've got winners, man, on both sides of the parking lot. And they're doing great things. And they're keeping you entertained and they're keeping you interested. And you're excited for the start of baseball season. I don't know if anybody was truly excited for the start of Royal season last year. Some nice new additions and whatnot, but you're looking at a team that lost 110 games the year before or whatever it was, and you're like, they're probably not going to be that good. And then they got hot. They started to play good, and it got you into the fold, right? And then now they've set the expectation. You expect them to go to the playoffs.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
56 and 106.
Is that what it was? 50, whatever it was. Yeah. I don't think anybody's like, all right, here we go. Let's put on my baseball pants. The Royals are going to be good this year. And then they were, and they surprised. It was a nice surprise last year.
I think Dusty had his baseball pants on.
Big time.
Good news is Nike's developing new baseball pants.
I'm not happy
this year.
about that.
Well, I think the players are. You're not going to see their tighty whiteys anymore.
Someone didn't even wear them.
Binkley is a tighty whitey guy.
From the 620, black ice is terrible. It smells like a heavy smoker that tries to cover up his stench with body spray.
Are you talking about those trees that hang in the car? I've never, my grandfather used to have those in his Dodge Aries K, and it was always the green pine ones. Ugh.
From the 913, I care about it. I won't lie. There's something cool about listening to a spring training game on the radio and hearing the birds chirping.
That's weird. Yes, it is. It's the senses, right? Yeah. Taste and smell.
Now batting number 67, David Lynch. That guy's not making the team.
Right.
1, his name is David Lynch, and 2, his number is 67, and he plays third base.
Right. Yeah. He doesn't have a chance to make the roster, but man, the birds are chirping, the sun is shining, the voice of Denny and Ryan, and it's just a warm feeling. Baseball gives you the feels more than any other sport. Right?
And then you hear Denny is like, well, here we are again in another meaningless offseason and spring training. First pitch right after this. Ryan, can we get to the season, please? We don't need 41 games in spring to develop a player.
He's not wrong. Like Denny's not like Denny's never been wrong. And I don't say that lightly, but
there's more bees behind home plate. Remember the bees?
Oh, God, yes.
Ned had to go out there and be a doctor.
Do I remember? We had Ned on the next day. What'd you do? And then he went through the whole thing about the bees.
He's like, they were pissed, Bob.
But that started to really open my eyes to the importance of bees. And what they truly do for the environment, because I know I don't have a green thumb at all, right? And I don't have enough sun on my property. And so I was trying to grow peppers, tomatoes, or whatever. I didn't have enough bees. I was trying to attract the bees to pollinate the flowers so it could turn into fruit, and I didn't have enough bees. And so I totally understand why you just don't go spray those bees. They're so important to kind of take us to the next level with our fruit.
Bob, you've caused two different people to think about the same thing twice today. I'll explain what that is on the other side when we dive into it here on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Well, I'll tell you what, outside today, the snow is covering your grass, but soon that snow will melt away, and you will be able to see your lawn. And if you're like me and you don't like what you see underneath it, then you have to call my friends over at Aspen Lawn and Pest Control, because this spring, our lawn is finally going to look great with the folks over at Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. I've been trying to deal with my lawn for the last couple of years, trying to figure this thing out. I don't know what I'm doing. The folks over at Aspen Lawn and Pest Control went to college for it. They have degrees in trying to figure out how to make your lawn look the best on the block. They're going to have a hard job at my house, but they're going to knock it out of the ballpark because they've been doing award-winning services since 1985. And at Aspen Lawn and Pest Control, they offer full-service lawn care, irrigation, and pest control. Get in touch with them today for your free estimate, plus up to half off your first application when you mention this ad. You want to expect the best. The trusted professionals at Aspen Lawn and Pest Control are the answers to all of your lawn care needs. So don't wait. Call or visit aspenlawn.com today. That's aspenlawn.com.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and you've heard me talk a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve your sleep, your workouts, your energy levels, and more. But today I want to talk to you about your sex drive, because low testosterone can have a significant impact on your desire for intimacy. It can even be a factor in erectile dysfunction, and if you're in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship, a low sex drive could really be a problem. The good news is that if you're like most guys, treating your low testosterone could really change the way you feel about sex, giving you back the flame and desire that is so important when you love someone. So if you're feeling sluggish and tired, if you're not sleeping well, if your workouts aren't that great, and most of all, if your sex drive is more like a putt, make an appointment at Heartland Men's Health and have your testosterone levels checked. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
After you use Bounce Dryer sheets and realize how fresh, soft, less wrinkled, and less staticky your laundry can be, you'll put a sheet on it every time. Like those socks that smell like they've been through a marathon. Put a sheet on it. Or that blanket that's got wrinkles on its wrinkles. Put a sheet on it. Maybe even your chatty coworker who keeps distracting you. Okay, Bounce Dryer sheets can't do it all. But for fresher, softer, better laundry, put a sheet on it with Bounce.
Friday is Valentine's Day, so if you still have shopping to do, then it's time to get to Macy's, because we make finding the perfect gift so easy. How easy? We have last-minute gifts that feel truly thoughtful, like fragrance gift sets from Yves Saint Laurent, Carolina Herrera, and Marc Jacobs, boxed and ready to give. Yeah, it doesn't get much easier than that. So head to Macy's and make their Valentine's Day a little more special and your life a little bit easier. But hurry in, because you're almost out of time. These deals end Friday at Macy's.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Granger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Granger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi, golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf, Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
When I wake up
the best mornings
in the morning light,
start with Wrangler.
I pull on my jeans and I
jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started. Good mornings make for better days. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Okay, so that's with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, grilled onions, ketchup, and hold the pickles.
You know what you like. You wouldn't order your burger just any way. Why should your sports talk be any different? With Chapters on the free Audacy app, you can choose the topics that matter to you most. Whether it's reactions, matchup previews, injury updates, or team news, quickly find what you really care about. Your football talk, your way. Download the free Audacy app and start listening today.
This Valentine's Day, shop at Hellburg and get up to 50% off select jewelry. Like a diamond pendant that says,
I'm so lucky I met you.
a stunning engagement ring to say,
Let's make this day unforgettable.
or an anniversary band to tell them.
10 years, and we still got it.
Come to Hellburg this Valentine's and get up to 50% off select jewelry and engagement rings. A perfect gift designed with the love and care worthy of your story. Visit a Hellburg store or hellsburg.com.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where TurboTax Expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? Call Jay Southland Tow Service, 816-779-4869 or southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments. They can do it all. Be in the know and call Jay's Southland Tow.
Today, expect snow with a high of 23.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
So I told you that two different people have had the same thought process on something that you have said earlier today.
And we're going back to New Orleans?
We can get into that a little bit later, too. But no, this is from the 913. Bob kind of talked me into the idea of a huge roster overhaul. Kind of excited for that. Mac also, I think, was a little bit intrigued, and where you said that you would see this team completely turning it over, as in not to somebody else, but into someone's else. Like other people are coming to this team via free agency, via draft, and possibly via trade with a big name attached to that.
Let me ask you guys this. We talked about it yesterday. Is Trey Smith really the only free agent you would consider signing and bringing back on this roster? Like deep down, like be honest with yourself. Because to me it is. I look at all the guys that are free agents. Love Justin Reed, but we've got a replacement for him. Binkley convinced me not to even consider Bolton, and I was kind of back and forth with Bolton, but when we had Binkley on earlier today, Dusty, he goes, no, don't pay a middle linebacker, just go draft another guy.
It's like paying a running back.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, right? And on the defensive side, same type of position. So, okay, I'm out on Bolton now. It's like Trey Smith would be the only guy of the free agents that I would even make an offer to bring back to Kansas City. And I don't know if he would even take the offer because of what he can get on free agent, side of things. So it may be tough to bring him back. But this just feels like the offseason where there is going to be a major roster overhaul, judging based on what we've seen. And we can only, this is why history is important to look at and study and see what they've done in the past. When they've suffered these big losses at the end of the year, there's been roster overhaul. We talk about it all the time. The New England AFC Championship game, overhaul the defense. Cincinnati, playoff loss, trade Tyreek Hill. Tampa Super Bowl, revamp offensive line. This is the first loss to end a season that we've had since, the Cincinnati AFC Championship game. After that game, they traded Tyreek Hill. There was a total meltdown for a couple of days by fans, not thinking that we would ever be good again because we traded Tyreek Hill. Ipso facto, Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, welcome to Kansas City. Tyreek Hill, go do whatever it is that you do these days.
Right.
And so this offseason, I do feel like you need a roster overhaul again. I think you need to overhaul almost all of the offensive line. If you told me like none of those guys were coming back, I'd be fine with it. I don't have an issue with that, right? That's how I'm wired. I know everybody other than the quarterback, and at this point, the tight end is probably an indispensable part. Chris Jones didn't do anything in the Super Bowl. I know he had a neck injury or the stinger or what. He looked fine after the game. But he didn't register anything in the Super Bowl this year. He's a big-name player that's taken up 13% of your salary cap. And I wouldn't hesitate trading Chris Jones this offseason. And what's prompted me to go to that next level with trading Chris Jones is that Daniel Jeremiah of Move the Sticks podcast, who's a great draft guy, said this time last year, I had starter grades on 12 defensive linemen in the draft. This year, so far, 24. Double the amount from a year ago. You got to get younger. You got to get fresher. And the Kansas City Chiefs have shown you they are not afraid to trade a big-name player to get draft picks back in return. Plus, you have Brett Veach saying on the record last week that our free agency this year is going to be the draft. They only have 6 picks. It's a 7-round draft. They're going to need more picks. So I expect there to be a move made that brings the Chiefs draft picks back in return. And in order to get the best return on your investment, you're going to have to trade somebody that's going to hurt, that's going to make people upset for 5 minutes, and then you realize Mahomes and Andy Reid were going to be just fine. Chris Jones feels like that guy to me right now. And if that's the guy that they wanted to trade this offseason to improve the overall roster, I wouldn't hate it. But you're not going to get much more back in return for many other guys on your roster like you would for a guy like Chris Jones.
Other names that are big on this roster, you mentioned Chris Jones. Is Trent McDuffie tradable?
I don't think so.
He's a lockdown, keep him on your squad?
I do believe so. Yeah, I do believe Trent McDuffie is.
But Chris Jones isn't.
Yeah, 31 years old, a lot of defensive line. Like, the defensive line position has become, over the last couple of years, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but, like, so much more athletic and dominating. I mean, the last couple of years in college and the NFL. And the fact that Daniel Jeremiah says, now, again, that's his one opinion, but 24 guys that could be starters that are at the defensive line position, we know how the Chiefs like to get younger. We know how the Chiefs don't like to be in a position where they're overpaying. Now, I know they already paid Chris Jones, but you can trade and move on and figure things out. But that's a guy I would absolutely consider moving on from, especially with that depth of the draft at defensive line.
Yeah, when we did this a few hours ago, I was kind of like, but I've thought about it now and mulled over it, and I actually think this is a right move because he's 30, going to turn 31 next season, so he's at his peak, probably past the peak of his powers. He's the biggest name on this roster, not named Patrick Mahomes. That's tradable, and you can get, for Tyreek Hill, you got 5 picks. I think for Chris Jones, you could probably get 4. Maybe one of them's a first, probably. He's still worth a first-round pick, I think. Led the league in pressures this year. I know he didn't give those sack numbers that we wanted. He still produced really, good stats. I think I'm there, man. I think I'm with you.
Okay, it's an interesting conversation to have. I know
so.
From like a sentimental standpoint, nobody wants to see that happen, obviously, but we can't be sentimental.
No.
That's why Brett Veach is good at his job. He doesn't get sentimental on players, right? And you can't in this business. You have to be, I don't want to use the term cold-hearted, but you have to view players, like as Jerry Seinfeld once said, we're rooting for laundry here, right? We're not rooting for the individual players. Players will come and go. There's a core that you want to try to keep together, obviously. But at 30-plus years old, a deep draft, I wouldn't hesitate. And then you kind of brought this one up yesterday with the Luka-type trade. Like, what about Rashee Rice for Trent Williams? Would that be a Luka-type trade?
That would 100% be that,
right?
Because you're going to get somebody who's got maybe 2 or 3 years left and giving up someone's entire youth at their skill position. I would more so say, like, if you're going to trade a guy like Rashee Rice, you go get somebody that's, like, still kind of, like, got a lot to prove and a lot of juice. And to me, that'd be a guy like a Micah Parsons. Like, Dallas hasn't paid him yet.
Right.
I mean, obviously the Chiefs would have to. They don't have the money there.
He's got 1 year left in his deal. That's the minus.
And I don't know if the Chiefs necessarily, like, let's say Rashee Rice comes back and has a 4-game suspension, hypothetically. And then just goes,
seems right.
And then just goes absolutely nuts in the last 13 games of the season. Then guess what? Does he bring in the conversation of like, well, I want you to pay me? If you're not going to pay Rashee Rice and you can get value somewhere else where you think you would pay that person for like maybe a 2 or 3 year extension like a Micah Parsons.
That's an interesting kind of
like
hook there. If you're not going to pay, I didn't think about that.
Because you lost this entire year with him.
Yeah.
You're going to lose some of the year next year with him again.
And that's already his 3rd year.
Yes. And then he's a, 2nd-round pick?
Right. So he's only got 1 more year under contract.
And that year is going to be the pay me. Or do you get the cop-out deal like you got with Tyreek Hill where you give him the extension that's pricey, but it's only like 2 years. And then when he wants the big bag, it's like, thank you, but goodbye.
Yeah.
The other reason I bring up Trent McDuffie, who I do think is a lifer in Kansas City because of how great of a person he is and how great of an athlete he is.
I had a great conversation with him after that loss. He's just a stellar human being, and I know the organization has felt that way about him for 2 years.
But we know how the organization feels about corners. They don't pay them.
Yeah.
And when they're good, L'Jarius Sneed didn't get paid. Charvarius Ward didn't get paid. I can only say those two names because those are the two names that have come before Trent McDuffie. And now Trent McDuffie is here. Now, is Trent McDuffie better than both those guys? Yes. But is he in the same conversation of the room that had this conversation many times? Absolutely. Now, McDuffie also going to be expensive, but is he one of those guys that has already been made to the cap? Because for me, I think you need to revamp an offensive line, and I think you need to get somebody that can run the ball and catch the ball effectively out of the backfield. Neither one of the running backs you have this year can do both of those. I get it. Isaiah Pacheco's made catches, but you don't think of him as that guy. You think of him as the guy that, when it gets late into the third and in the fourth quarter, just run like the guy that you are, which is powerful, head down, and just bodying people left and right. And Kareem Hunt's like your trusted brick, right? You can just be like, take this and get 3 yards. Take this and get the 2 yards, get the end zone. You need somebody that has that sort of skill set that can be the LaShawn McCoy that Andy Reid loved back in the day that did so much for his team in Philadelphia. Be the Westbrook. Be the kid from Darren Sproles. Be that sort of elusive running back that can run the ball, but also can go out there and make plays with the screen. Because we talked about this yesterday, everybody always says, who's the one Chiefs player of the past that you'd love to see on this team? And I'm always blown away with the percentage of people that say Jamal Charles.
Because he would be so dynamic, it would be.
And it would open up this offense and take so much of
It'd take a lot of pressure off Pat and the offensive line, right?
And Andy can get creative. He knows how to run that offense. So I think it's, in my opinion, is left tackle, running back, and some sort of fast speed, whether that's defensively or offensively. And if you're going to go speed defensively, you've got to get somebody because Karlaftis is good. But when Jones and Omenihu are there, Omenihu is a free agent that some people don't think is coming back. Chris Jones, if you mention him in a trade, who's 31, he'll be 32 next year, is not going to continue to be the...
No, he's 30. He'll be 31.
31 next year. Yep. So he's not going to eventually lead the league in pressures. It will eventually tear off.
Right.
Will Karlaftis, who's now entering his fourth year, will he be that guy that can literally be, the pass rusher? Or are you just going to be the 6 to 8 sacks every year, maybe have one of those big games like you had against Houston, but then that's it? If that's the case, you need something else that is electric and dynamic on defense as well, that's athletic and quick.
And what did we see? We saw a defensive line shred the Chiefs. This is a copycat league, right? Young, fast defensive linemen is what the Philadelphia Eagles built their roster around. And so that's what teams are going to do. They're going to try to go out and find the next wave. And the good news is for teams that are trying to do that, the defensive line is now a new hot position in the NFL. But the Chiefs do still have to figure out that left tackle spot. And that's why I say Rashee Rice. Maybe it's not for Trent Williams, Andrew Thomas, Tristan Wirfs. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there.
Yeah, Tristan Wirfs is a great name.
You just, but do they need another wide receiver?
Well, they're going to lose Chris Godwin. The Mike Evans is pretty old.
Is Godwin a free agent now?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
And so they could actually use a young wide receiver.
I like that one.
And Wirfs has already been paid. They'd want to get that money off. Rice hasn't been. Wirfs is 26 in his prime. Trent Williams is 36.
I know.
That's
why that would be the Luka type trade. But they were close to having Trent Williams here.
Which would have been great.
Yeah. Wouldn't have the conversation, although he did get hurt this year.
I know, that's the thing.
But maybe he doesn't in case he can't play that game.
He can't play that game at all.
Never know.
Absolutely not. But the Tristan Wirfs one is, and that's why I threw him on the list, because I thought that would be kind of interesting because he is younger. But there's not a lot of teams that have a younger offensive tackle that's good that needs a wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? You start to look at the list and you're like, it doesn't really fit. But I feel like we're getting an offensive tackle. And again, this is just me feeling this way. I think it's going to be a trade for that left tackle. I think it's going to be like that Willie Roaf move that solidifies the offensive line. Because even Binkley said there's not a great one in the draft, this year like there was a couple of years ago. So I think you're going to have to get creative, and we know Veach gets creative. Who does Tennessee have that we need? Anybody in Chicago that we need?
What if Atlanta called you and said they'd give you Bijan Robinson for Trent McDuffie? I would do that in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
Yep.
Because I would
100%.
trust that Veach is going to find somebody at corner.
Yes.
I feel like, and with his draft capital at corner, it's just then you'd have that guy. You'd have Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson on this team.
Or somebody in the text line says,
I just love Trent Like, that's hard for me. I'm personally biased, right? Like,
you think people in Washington love Champ Bailey?
Yeah, and they did
They
it.
traded him for Clinton Portis.
I know.
That's the problem that people have. And I'm not saying it's your problem. Is that you begin to love these players.
Oh, it's
and
definitely not my problem.
No,
Yeah.
No, and you begin to love these players.
I mean, I
because
wanted
of
Kelsey traded.
Maybe, and the past is the past.
Right.
But like you have these sort of like relationships, whether you met them at a Hy-Vee, shoulder to shoulder, like,
right.
Hey man, really enjoy your stuff. Whether you met them in an airport or a restaurant, you had a good, encounter with them. But what you love more is winning Super Bowls because I know how hurt you were seeing them lose this way.
Yeah.
And if you could trade a guy that has a ton of capital, like a Trent McDuffie does, because if we're talking roster revamp and you're talking about, because last year, let's go Royals. I would ask people that are diehard Royals fans, season ticket holders, say, would you trade Brady Singer for a bat?
Yes.
And everyone's like, I don't know, man. Brady, I drafted Brady. I really like the guy. I'm like, yeah, but you can't get rid of, and you mentioned this earlier, you can't trade a bunch of rocks for some gold.
Right.
That just doesn't work.
This ain't Jack and the Beanstalk.
This isn't Luka from the Mavs to the Lakers. That's why that trade was so polarized, because you're like, they traded him for Anthony Davis, who's already hurt. Like, that's why everybody was doing that. So you got to give up a lot to get a lot.
You do.
And at the end of the day, because somebody says this, Trent McDuffie for Deebo Samuel or Michael Parsons. Like,
I'm not doing it for Deebo Samuel or Micah Parsons at this point.
Mike in a heartbeat. Because then you put Mike out there and you're like,
all right,
now you
I do think that one. But
now
I'm not
you
doing
have
it for
that
Deebo.
guy, because Micah can make, and this isn't a shot at Jalen Watson, but like, he makes him look better, because then now all of a sudden you have pressure constantly in your face from a guy like Micah Parsons, where that quarterback, whether it's Joe Burrow, whether it's Josh Allen, or if it's Justin Herbert, they're throwing it quicker, which is getting you to react quicker, because that's what we didn't have in that Super Bowl game. We didn't have pressure from the defensive line, which was allowing Hurts to throw it over the top to Devonta Smith, which was allowing Hurts to let A.J. Brown be a bigger, badder dude than McDuffie. Like, A.J. Brown's a big SOB. And Trent McDuffie's a good, talented corner. But sometimes in this sport, size will win.
Yeah. No,
ask Mike Evans. He ain't the fastest dude, but he's big, strong, and elusive, and he wins a lot.
All right, you've convinced me. Trent McDuffie can be on the trade block too, right? No, but I think that's the way you have to look at it, though. You have to explore all of your options. You can't say
Tyreek Hill getting traded to Miami had people in boxes.
Oh, I know.
They're like, what are we going to do now?
Right.
Oh, your quarterback's going to win the MVP and have the number one offense in the league. So that's the thing that you're in. Like, yeah, if you win the three-peat, you're a little bit easier seeing these guys go because of the history they've made and the time they've been here. Losing, you're like, oh, man, the last thing we're going to have of, Trent McDuffie being here was, building the box and putting the man, it sucks.
And we're not saying any of these guys are on the block, but we're explaining what needs to happen this offseason for this team to get better. You can't get better and grow if you're wedded to certain players on the team. You have to be able to see them as interchangeable parts. I know they're not robots and all this kind of stuff. We view players at times as robots. There is that human side. And I think sometimes you can look at that human side, but more importantly, to be focused on winning the prize, you have to view players as assets. And can this player better be service to us playing or better service to us by trading?
And it's like they always tell you, it's business.
It is business, yeah.
You know?
Scott Pioli told me one time, he goes, I hate that it's business because it is personal to some people. Because it is, yeah. It's tough. It's tough.
Well, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, that's just, look, the Lakers knew when they traded AD and didn't tell LeBron was going to come in here the minute that he found out and storm that off. Like, what in the world? And they're going to say, dude, you got Luka.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like, I know, but I really like that guy. And it's like, but you're really going to like this guy. You're really going to like this guy if you win another NBA Finals, which I don't know if that'll happen. But, like, if that does, you'll forget about that very quickly. If the Chiefs go back to the Super Bowl next year and win, and they traded McDuffie for Micah Parsons, and Micah Parsons had 2.5 sacks at Super Bowl.
You ain't going to know who Trent McDuffie was.
How quickly did it take you to get over Tyreek Hill because of Trent McDuffie? The Germany game?
Yeah.
Scoop and score to Cook?
Yeah, I was over Tyreek Hill the minute they traded, but I'm different,
Business.
Yeah, so
it is.
It is, and
it
that's the way you have to look at
sucks.
it. It does, but like you're not Miami Marlinsing this thing where you're trading everybody because you don't want to pay anybody, right? You're trading people to get better. You're trading people to move forward. You're trading people to improve your team. You're not saying we're trading everybody. We're not paying anybody because we're tanking. You're trading people to get better.
Yeah, it'd be like you traded me for Chris Mad Dog Russo.
Yeah,
kidding.
I don't know if I do that.
Let me tell you something about the Green Bay Packers. They're the best dynasty yet.
Dude, nobody's alive that saw them play other than you.
That'd be kind of a fun debate back and forth.
That would be
Russo
great.
and Fescoe.
Who?
Russo, is it?
Russo go, yeah, Matt, me and him?
Yeah,
Oh, I'd walk out of the room. It'd give me a headache. It's like
Bob and the Mad Dog?
Yeah, I like just yelling all day.
Bulldog and the Mad Dog?
That is it.
Let me tell you something.
Bulldog and the Mad Dog.
Text from the 913. I don't know if there's kind of a conversation to have in my head. Kelsey cap space is the key. I'm kind of waiting to bring that up. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the clips coming out of Travis Kelce in the Super Bowl. I'm sure you guys have.
Like, which clips are we talking
Of him
about?
not like caring.
Him just giving no effort
That's
and
what
stuff.
everyone's gonna say. Like,
Come on.
well, now we're.
Well, I haven't even said anything yet.
No, but people are saying that he's giving no effort.
Well, the clips would show you it was not great. There were some not great moments, Bob. I would say that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the other
I would
thing
ask
again.
what the play is, what the time of the day is, and what's the score.
And also, too, I'll go back to they're not used to being in that situation, so they don't know how to act in that situation. You put somebody in a situation that they're not used to, yeah, you're probably going to see them act in a way you don't think is appropriate. Like, I can't sit here and be mad at Travis Kelce for everything that he's done and been through with this organization. We all
you don't got to be mad. You just got to look at the facts and say, okay, $20 million cap hit. Is that worth it?
Yeah. And yes, it is for one more season.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. I think it is. Or you find a way to put like another year on the end and spread it out or something. Or, go the Dodger route and pay him to perpetuity or how. I mean, I don't know if you can do that in the NFL. But no, I mean, yeah, it was a bad day. Like everybody had a bad day. Andy Reid had a bad day. One of his worst coaching days ever.
100%.
Patrick Mahomes' worst day ever.
Is that what his cap hit is next year? Is $20 million?
19.8.
So you're lying. It's not 20.
You're right. My fault. It's hefty. Hefty.
It's a big one. Yeah.
Good conversation. We'll wrap this show up on the other side. You're listening to Fescoe, Dusty, and Mac as well here at 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City Sports.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's Gold telling you about Max Motors. I was just recently at one of their 7 locations between Kansas and Missouri. They've got 7 locations, including one that's just 7 minutes from the Grandview Triangle if you're going 192 miles an hour. That's, of course, the Max Motors Harrisonville location. That's where I got a chance to drive a couple new cars, test drive, and find out exactly what the buying process can be like. They make it so easy. They tell you about the total cost of ownership, not just what your monthly payment's going to be. Max Motors has the best financing options available with the max trade-in values in the Midwest. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car. MaxMotors.com.
Hey, KC, when I discovered my new passion, I dove into social media, got on some shows, and soon almost Andy Reid was bored. But this winter, there's something new you might discover that's not as great. Issues with your garage door. Don't get stuck in the cold. Get your annual maintenance check for just $100 or a free replacement quote from my friends at Renner Garage Door. They carry top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, trusted locally since 1956.
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Granger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Granger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf, Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
When I wake up the best mornings in the morning light start with Wrangler. I pull on my jeans and I feel all right. Jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started. Good mornings make for better days. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Hardy. Jim Bob drinks his coffee with Jim Bob World Tour. August 14th at T-Mobile Center with Co Wetzel, Steven Wilson Jr., and Sicarus. ACM Award winner Hardy live. On sale Friday 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Hardy 2025. Until then, give heaven some hell.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
It Ain't Right Tour 2025.
The poor mother is in the balcony, and the kids are down here with the father and his gumad. If this was the 80s, the kids would have been up there, and the parents would have been down here.
Sebastian Maniscalco, live on stage in Kansas City. T-Mobile Center, Saturday, February 22nd. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
You know, I do remember a day when the Royals traded Will Myers and they got a guy by the name of James Shields and Wade Davis back in return, right? And everybody, all the baseball nerds told me, oh, you can't trade Will Myers. Why not? Led to a world championship here in Kansas City. Will Myers is like a 260 career hitter. Nice career. But we get and fall in love with these guys based on whatever. And people are always afraid to trade him. I think if the Chiefs do make a trade, guys, this offseason that's a big-name player, I don't think people will react the way that they did the Tyreek Hill time around. I think people understand, for the most part, of what this organization is all about. And when it's time to move on, they move on. It's so much better than overpaying somebody at the end of your prime.
Well, it's just crazy, too, because, like, you know, there's all those, like, comps that we do throughout sports, and the Patriots just never paid anybody. Like, I know that we whatever. It's just like...
Yeah, they never did, and they continue to win.
And if they did, it was like the guy that made sense. It'd be like a Mike Vrabel, because he, like, was a leader on their defense but wasn't expensive.
But ultimately traded him here.
Yeah. And then there's, not Richard Seymour, but...
they didn't even trade... They traded Vince Wilfork. They let him go, too.
Sure
yeah,
they did.
Yeah.
I was going to say him, but you're right.
I mean... Asante Samuel, I believe, is another guy they had that they just were like, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, go get your money.
Wasn't the
Patrick Chung, the guy that made the heroic Super Bowl interception, gone.
I mean, Malcolm Butler, yep.
Malcolm Butler, that one. Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, Malcolm Butler, gone. Like, I mean, it's just guys like, if you're going to keep being great, you have to trust your organization, your system, the way that you draft. And again, I get it. Like, people are like, stop saying this stuff. Like, again, we're not saying they should. We're saying, where do you have value to get value back to make your team consistently great? Like, there's a reason why you might see a team like Cincinnati drop off, because they may pay T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, but then their defense will be there.
Who's going to stop somebody? Because, if they sign both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow is under contract, they have those three guys, there's not a lot of money left. And you know how much more difficult Joe Burrow's life is going to be with both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, as opposed to using some of that money to pay some defenders? Because Joe Burrow now with no defenders is going to have to go out and score 35, 40 points a game to try. It's going to be like the Chiefs were in the first 2 years of Patrick Mahomes when they didn't have a defense, and they had to go out there and put up 40 a game in order to give yourself a chance to win. If you invest some of that money and don't pay both of those wide receivers on the defensive side, maybe you go out there and you only have to score 21 points because your defense is getting stops, and that makes your life easier.
I think the Belichickism that you brought up with the Patriots was like, what was it? Get rid of them a year too early, not a year too late,
absolutely.
Right? I mean,
and that's where the
it.
Chiefs are.
Yeah.
That's the mindset of the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's the right. And we said that years ago when Patrick Mahomes came in. It was going to be about Patrick Mahomes and building around him because that's your Tom Brady. And in New England, literally everybody was moved on from. Even Tom at the end, was moved on from, and that ended up being a mistake, clearly. But here in Kansas City, man, like that's just the way it's going to go, and that's how you keep these dynasties moving forward. You don't fall in love with players, and you don't get overwhelmed by keeping them because they're a fan favorite. You move them on, and we'll have new fan favorites.
And you signed your anomalies. You signed Patrick Mahomes. You gave Travis Kelce money, just like in baseball. You signed Bobby Witt Jr. It was already in the spring, ready to play baseball, where pitchers and catchers report today, right?
Yeah. Ready
for that. Somebody said spring training is next week. How about some Royals talk?
Oh, we've had it this morning.
That's why I asked on Twitter today we asked from our show, our show poll on X, what do you want to talk about? Do you want to hear Chiefs football or do you want to hear Royals baseball? 440 of you have voted. 80% still say Royals baseball over Chiefs football.
Damn.
Now, had the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, what do you think those results would have been, right?
Well, we wouldn't have had that poll question.
I think it would be fun to have that poll question had they won the Super Bowl.
Had they won, yeah.
Yeah, because you know what everybody's going to say. It's, get rid of that and let's talk some
and
baseball,
we could do that throughout. I mean, we have Thursday and Friday this week moving forward since we're almost done with the show on Wednesday. But we can do, Royals expectations, who we're looking out for, over under win totals in the next couple of days. And then really get into who's in the best shape of their life.
Oh, I can't wait for
That's always spring training.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
He's really
the best
humming
shape
it.
of his life.
Cole Reagans looks like he's in mid-season form already.
I read an article yesterday about some guy on the Yankees that I'd never heard of, and they're already saying he's not going to be ready for the regular season. It's February 11th.
Never good.
Like, how are you not ready on February 11th? You're already hurt on February 11th? Like, that's baseball in a nutshell right there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to the regulars. Spring training hasn't started yet. Did you fall off a barn roof? Who was that guy for the Royals that fell off a roof of a barn that year? Missed, all of the season. It was a pitcher, I think, wasn't it?
What year was it when Salvi was going up the stairs in flip-flops and he, hurt his foot? And you're like, really? Flip-flops carrying a suitcase? Somebody else carry that damn bag.
Wasn't it 16 or 17?
It was right around there.
Yeah,
Brian Flynn?
Yeah, Brian Flynn. Yeah, fell off a roof of a barn or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite running back draft look? Ashton Genty. Like, could you imagine that guy on the Chiefs?
Amazing.
Like,
oh my.
Yes. Back to football.
No, but see, that's funny. My friend is a Boise State fan and he's a New Orleans Saints fan, right?
Oh.
And so he's been saying I hope they hire Kellen Moore, and they got him. He goes, now if they draft Ashton Genty, I mean, how awesome would that be?
Would be cool.
What pick does New Orleans have? 5, 6?
Probably.
Something like that, right? They're obviously in a top 10 team. How far do you think Ashton Genty falls in this draft?
They're 9, which is actually more beneficial because I think he'll fall that far. There's just so many running backs.
There's a ton. There's a
It's a
ton.
million.
Yeah. It's insane.
But I mean, Kellen Moore, and you bring that Boise State flavor down there, and
that's good. That's good.
Mean, that'd be a lot of fun to watch him in the NFL.
Hey, if they did that, Kamara could be up for trade. That's
an interesting conversation to have too.
Please.
Yeah, you have to be able to ensure that you're going to get a legit running back. And what would you give up for Alvin right now, though? Is he worthy of a fourth round?
I was going to
pick?
say maybe a third. Probably,
but you don't have much draft capital. That's the
don't.
thing. You only have 6 picks in 7 rounds.
But you get that second pick in the third.
And there will be, they'll lose some of these free agents and they'll get comp picks. And I know those are later picks, but they will accrue some more picks.
Some, but
actually,
6th and 7th.
I take that back. We don't call it the second and third round anymore. We call it day 2 picks.
Yeah, day 2.
Yeah. Day 2 picks.
Yeah, we used to only have 2 days.
Day 2 pick. So is it the second or third round? Doesn't matter. It's on day 2.
Day two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that team doesn't pick in the second round, so they pick in the third. So it's a day 2 pick.
From the 913, Ashton Genty or Judkins. That's the name I brought up on Monday.
Yeah.
Quinshon Judkins out of your Ohio State. That would be awesome.
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
And
Yep.
he is a baller.
He is.
Or you just suck for 2 years and draft that young receiver they have. That could be another thing, too.
Yeah, right. Hey, I'd suck for a couple years to get Ryan Williams out of Alabama at 17 years old, right?
Dynamic drop. Dynamic drop.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's getting
somebody just said Kevin Apier. Are we just doing random Royals? That's what we're doing now?
Kevin Apier.
It's a fun game.
Spaceman Bob? Like, why is he up?
Spaceman Bob?
Yeah.
Kevin Apier. I guess I'm not making that connection.
His real name is Bob.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people do know that.
I think the older guard might know that. Like
Bob Apier?
Yeah. Robert,
I mean, I know
Robert
that
Kevin Apier, yeah.
I know that it's Larry Chipper Jones.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's
I'd go by Chipper too if my name was Larry, right? At that age.
They used to chant his name in Philadelphia, Larry, because he wanted to go there. Said he'd go there and then never went. I think that's who that is.
I'd go by Lawrence if I was Larry, maybe too, at that young age.
Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket. That's another bit that's coming up in this offseason of football is Max Movie of the Month.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll have to.
I'm pumped about that.
We'll have to
Long list.
We'll have to have that as a question that we'll do on the text line as well, because there is a ton of movies that can make it. So we can stretch this out until football season. So really, you're gonna have to watch like 6 movies.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Well, then we got the draft in April.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
then, May is OTAs.
We can't really, we really can't force you to watch a movie every week. That's just too much.
That'd be too
so
much.
A month, So
yeah,
now
month totally doable.
Now we're just getting names: Gil Mesh, Chris Getz. Let's get older.
So why are we naming these people?
I don't know. Royals talk.
According to the barn story.
Oh no! Oh, maybe they're saying who fell through the. No, Bob had like emus in Lewisburg. Like I don't even know if he still does. I don't know if he still lives out in Lewisburg.
He had emus.
Oh yeah, he had or llamas or alpacas. Well, one of those things. Cool. They're all kind of the same animal, right? Oh yeah, he was weird, man. He was out there. That's why he was Spaceman Bob. Then he came back after like being gone for 20 years, and Karen knew him.
Kevin Apier, man, he says that.
Had
nice,
that wind up that you can do that, can picture in your head, right?
Oh, yeah.
He was good.
Oh, for sure. I think he's started more opening days than any Royals pitcher in the history of the franchise.
Still,
I think so.
Wow, more than David Cohn.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think Apier started like 6 or 7 opening days. We could have Vern come in and fact check us on that if we need to. Another guy who will be joining our show. Kevin Apier missed a season because he fell off his porch.
He did?
Somebody says, Genty will be available for the Chiefs? Come on, guys. That wasn't the question. It was like, what's the running back you would love? And I just said his name.
People are just so quick to...
Yeah, I don't think he'll be available. I think he's going to go in the first 15 picks of the draft. Chiefs are picking 31st.
Yeah, I think he's going to go very high.
And tomorrow we might be able to talk about Jack Caglione as Dusty's surprise player of the baseball season. I know you want to hear about that because that's the buzz name in the offseason for the Royals. Also, go do something nice for somebody today. You never know. Could change their day, week, month, or even their year. It's simply cool to care. Kansas City, stay safe, stay kind, stay warm, drive safe. Coming up next, it's Cody Golden Drew from 10 to 2. That's right. They're here.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on